Back to straight facts. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you have not done so already, and make sure notifications are turned on and the bell notification button is pressed on YouTube. It's Tuesday afternoon, so you know that means only one thing. Lee Gunner is here with moi. How are you, mate? You well? You good?
I'm very good, man. It's a wonderful sunny day today. Sat around the pool earlier, chilling before a massive day of streaming. Just done a show with Rants, and now I'm with you, and then watch along and fan cams and player ratings deep into the small hours, Terry. So yeah,
yes, it's one of them ones. My daughter said to me this morning, "Daddy, can you take me a score?" I said, "No, Daddy's got to work very late tonight." She just said, she walked out the room and just went, "You're lazy." I was like, "Oh, thanks, thanks for that." That's exactly what I need to hear. But yeah, look, loads to delve into today. Lots to speak about. We'll be touching on City Arsenal later on in the week. We're touching on Tottenham's title hopes. We're looking at Man United's must-win game tonight. And the Zlatan Piers Morgan interview, getting Lee's thoughts and feelings on that, plus yours, the viewers. I did want to start, though, Lee, with obviously the most controversial topic of the weekend. And it wasn't actually connected to something you tweeted, which was a pleasant surprise. It was the Liverpool situation with the terrible refereeing VAR decision. The statement, which is, I know they haven't directly asked for a replay, but they're asking for a replay without asking for one. Liverpool fans are demanding we hear audio, we have transparency, that something now needs to be done. After this decision, something needs to be done about the horrendous refereeing that we experience in this league. What is your take on this whole situation and their letter to the PG MLO or to the Premier League, whoever it was to, essentially asking for this to be escalated and potentially a replay to be conducted?
I just find it all hilarious. Like, always the victims. Like, always. Like, they've made a massive mountain out of a molehill. Everyone gets wrong decisions. Yes, it was wrong. They got wronged. Doesn't mean they wouldn't have lost the game anyway. Like, let's just be real with it. Like, they could have still lost the game. We'll never know. Yeah, I didn't see this level of outpour from the mainstream media when Lee Mason got sacked for 3 months after they didn't draw the lines on the pitch against Brentford when we conceded in the last minute against them or whenever it was. Yeah, I didn't see this level of outcry in the Champions League final when Liverpool got a penalty that weren't a penalty against Tottenham. Didn't see this level of outcry when Lukaku was ruled offside when he was clearly onside in the League Cup final against Liverpool. Where was the outcry then? When it goes for Liverpool, they keep their mouth shut, innit? Yeah, when it's against them, oh, we're doing everyone a favour. Trailblazers. We're going to help the whole family, the football family, because we're going to escalate it. We want answers to help you guys in the future. Yeah, we want to get this resolved because we're Liverpool. Shut up, man. Like, honestly, I've never seen... I heard Andy Townsend today. I didn't even know he was still alive. I can't lie. Like, real talk.
TalkSport. He's on TalkSport regular.
Yeah, well, I don't listen to TalkSport. I just see these clips pop up here and there. Right? And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Oh, maybe we should give Liverpool a goal on their goal tally. What? What are you waffling about? Oh, yeah, well, they were wrong. So maybe we should give them a goal. Just add it on their goal tally this season. What the hell is he waffling about? Like, I've seen people going mad about it. Yeah, Sam Matterface on TalkSport did a whole podcast on it the day after it happened or the day it happened. Yeah, Gary Neville doing his podcast in Newcastle, St James's Park Stadium. Yeah, waffling about it. Mate, get over it. Yeah, the thing is, they were hard done by. So's everyone. Yeah, and people are going, oh, but that's not the point. Yeah, it's you know, it's not fair. They're getting these things wrong. Okay, cool. That's great. Half of the stuff's subjective anyway. Yes, okay, cool. Offsides ain't. Yeah, they shouldn't be, but they are kind of subjective at the moment. Yeah, because like I said, the Lukaku one in the League Cup final, he was onside. Yeah, you could argue Garnacho was onside. I don't think he was, but you could argue it. Yeah, and you could make a case for it. You know,
but this is the thing. I was wanting to interject for a second because, look, I think it's right that it had this level of attention. But let me tell you as to what I'm frustrated about is that I'm someone that's been individually doing this for a long time. And It does. I remember when I put a clip out once when Spurs played Tottenham and Cucurella had his hair pulled. I put out like a 30, 40-second clip saying how outrageous it was. And it was only Chelsea fans, maybe a handful of rivals in the comments that backed it. Everybody else said, cry more, basically, was the general response. Or what about this decision that you got that helped you? I remember calling out the horrendous decision not to draw the lines for the Brentford game last year. Everyone just said, I'm an undercover Arsenal fan. Nobody cares, Terrace.
Yeah, cry more.
Cry more. I've called out, there's been a number of Man United decisions this season. One that went for us, I called out the penalty, said we should have conceded the penalty against Wolves. Man United fans threatening to break my face. Why would you say that about your own club, Terry? When Man United have had some horrendous decisions go against us this year, subjective or indifferent, no one, in fact, still it hasn't been discussed on Good Morning Britain. The offside goal we conceded against Palace. Now, I'm not trying to say we didn't deserve to lose the game. But my point is this: we should be calling out decisions whether you win, lose, or draw, whether you were good enough to win or not good enough to win. Chelsea last night should have been playing for at least the last 15 minutes against 10 men because Vinicius smacked Thiago Silva in the back of the head, hit him. Now, there's no outcry today for the right decision. Now, I understand when a team loses and a protocol hasn't been followed, it's looked at as, oh my God, this is maybe the biggest mistake we have seen. And someone actually said to me today, you can't compare all these things, Terry, because red cards, for instance, are subjective and offside isn't. And this is the point. Subjectivity is not relevant to this conversation. It's about understanding why decisions are being made, the process they're meant to go through, the reasoning why they don't give things and why they give others. We need transparency, because I'm still not convinced, in defense of Liverpool here, I'm not convinced the VAR person thought it was a goal. I still think they're trying to cover up a different type of mistake. I don't trust them. We've heard Mike Dean say that he didn't want to give a decision for a penalty because the manager on the field of play, I forget who it was already under a lot of pressure and he didn't want to pile more upon him. So we know that they do things to protect each other. They've even told us. They have Andy Taylor, yeah. They've even told us that they haven't said it in these words, but the referee at the weekend, the VAR at the weekend, thinking the goal had been given, means he's not watching the bloody game, because there isn't a person who was watching that football match who has good eyesight and hearing, which you would assume the referee on VAR has, saw that the goal wasn't given. We all saw. They must have commentary. They must be able to hear things. They know that decision wasn't a goal. So this is the point. And today, I don't see a single Liverpool account. I don't see anybody yesterday talking about the Liverpool situation, speaking about the red card Chelsea should have had in their favour, where Vinicius should have been sent off. And that's because Chelsea won 2-0, so it isn't a talking point. Nobody's talking about the Man United offside goal that we conceded. And that's my problem with this. The only way and I back Liverpool on Saturday. Actually, I'm on your side. I'm going to back you. You've been robbed. It's disgusting. We've got to help. They're now defending the decision last night that Chelsea didn't have go in their favour. And that is what's going to happen. Yeah, actually, Terry, but it's not the same thing. We only want decisions like ours when they don't follow the process to be followed. So you want to frame it into something really specific.
And there we go. I can't take them seriously.
And that's why I can't take any fan base seriously. This isn't even about Liverpool for me, bruv. Everyone does this. That if tonight Arsenal get robbed, they'll say it's a disgrace. On Saturday, if Man United get robbed, they'll go, ha, ha, cry more. Everyone's either got to get on board with trying to make refereeing better, or what is it that, shut your goddamn mouth, you Rudy Poos. You got to hush your mouth.
The thing is, Terry, right? They're all crying about VAR. Oh, VAR got it wrong. VAR got it wrong. Wait, the linesman put his flag up for offside. So if VAR, because they were saying scrap VAR. But if they scrap VAR, it still ain't a goal anyway. The line already is flag up.
Let me just come again. People call me a liar. Someone's saying that Liverpool fans were defending the decision. Okay, let me rephrase what I've said then, so I can be more accurate. So I'm not called a liar. I'm seeing too many Liverpool fans, not all of them, but too many. Every person defending it in my thread. By the way, my tweet has had now, just to give you an idea, the amount of traction that it has had between the two tweets. Over 500,000 people have seen the tweet. It's a lot of people.
Jeez.
And I would say the vast majority of people saying that this is a different scenario, Terry, not the same by Liverpool fans. One is too many. It's not all of you. So UL55, you agree with me. You agree with me. Whoever these guys are, Paul here says, no, Terry, Liverpool fans called it out. Any Liverpool fan back in Chelsea last night, well done you. But just one Liverpool fan not doing it is not enough. The fact that I've seen no big Liverpool journalist tweet about it. I haven't seen Liverpool Football Club put out a message, and this is how you're going to fix it. Tonight, if Man United get robbed, Liverpool Football Club have got to tweet in our defence. This is the only way it will work. And this, again, it's when you say, why? You are now the torchbearers. You're the torchbearers of this. And you and the rest of us need to follow suit.
They want to be the ones that, oh, look at us. We were the ones who forced change. There ain't going to be no change, mate. That's it. Get over it. Yeah, you lost the game. Cry more. At the end of the day, I thought Liverpool played all right. Yeah, with 9 men. Yeah, cracking goal, by the way, from Matip. He finished that like a prime Robbie Fowler. What a finish. Great goal. Yeah, but the thing for me is if they didn't whinge and cry and moan so much, yeah, they'd have more people backing them. Yeah, but other fan bases just sitting there going, why are you crying? Because they chat the most. Yeah, like they're not the loudest online, but stuff like this, bro, I swear. It's always them. Always. Oh, poor us. But then when, like you said, it's Arsenal or Man United or Man City, gutted and gutted. Yeah, cry.
And I'm not having a go at Liverpool and singling them out and saying they're the worst at this. I don't think they are. I think every fan base is as bad as the other. You know, someone here saying you're playing the whataboutery game. No, this isn't whataboutery. This whataboutery would be, I don't care about Liverpool's decision because last year Jota should have been sent off in a game. That's whataboutery. What I am saying is there is very little credibility to your claims that we want to help change football for everybody if you are not backing rival clubs when they get bad decisions. Publicly, universally, and slamming anybody within your fan bases, whether you're Liverpool, Everton, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, that isn't doing it and is playing it down. That's not whataboutery. That is about credibility in our fight to get better refereeing decisions. And do you know what it is? It's more about transparency for me. I can take us not getting... We heard Dermot Gallagher yesterday say that the reason we didn't get a penalty for a handball against Palace is because the player's arm was tucked in. His arm was out by his side. So now he's not an official referee anymore. But for me, I want to hear what they said. I want to hear almost live now, why didn't you give it? And I actually think that 90% of the time would all go, that makes sense. Maybe I disagree slightly, but I understand the transparency of the situation. Yeah, for me now...
I don't think 90% will, because you're never going to get 100% of the decisions 100% correct 100% of the time.
True.
Yeah, so, and the thing is, a fan, if it goes against their team, is not going to accept what is being said anyway. They're just going to go, we were robbed, regardless. Even if everyone else is saying it, like there'll be people in this chat right now that say Curtis Jones shouldn't have been sent off. There'll also be people saying he should be sent off. So you're never going to please 100% of the people, regardless of whether you get decisions right or wrong, Terry. So
you're bang on that, but where you can bridge the gap is this. So say when you get a situation like Arsenal's penalty versus Spurs and Man United's exactly the same handball, one nearer to the goal, one further away, there should be, because they're professionals, a detailed explanation as to why one's different from the other. Therefore, because they're being held to account, we are going to get more consistency. Because you said, for instance, say the Curtis Jones foul stays as a red, that the appeal doesn't go through. We now know that anybody that touches that ball first and their foot rolls over the ball and they hit a shin, like Casemiro did last season, like Curtis Jones did this season, we know it's a red card. If next week the same thing happens and there isn't a red card given, that's where subjectivity goes out the window. What we need is to be told why subjectively it was different, but they don't say that. They don't ever give us a detailed reason. So I think we get more angry because we're never told why something has happened. We're given a really wishy-washy answer. You'll get Dermot Gallagher on Sky, who very rarely gives you any insight. He just says, yeah, I don't really think that one is, to be fair. They go, why don't you think that? Yeah, because I don't really think it's as bad as other ones we've seen. That's about how detailed. I mean, that don't mean anything.
Who's the other guy who sits in the BT studio? What's his name? He used to be a ref as well. What's his name? He sits in BT or TNT as it is now. What's his name? And they go, oh, let's go over to our VAR specialist.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I forget his name, but yeah.
I can picture, I can't remember his name, the chat note. But again, what's the point? They're making these people into celebrities. Yeah, it's not about them. It's true. These companies are making these people. Peter Walton, that's it, the most boring, dry person on the planet. Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ, you wouldn't want to sit around him for too long. You'd be asleep. Like, but real talk, they're making these people into celebrities, right? And they're making the game more about them. Yeah. Every time there's a decision, right? What does Peter Walton think? Nobody cares, mate. Like, real talk, nobody cares what Peter Walton's got to say. Yeah, because they're just going to laugh at him anyway, regardless of what he says. So why is he there? Yeah, and it's not about the officials. It's about the players on the pitch and the managers. That's what football's about. The fans don't go to the stadium to hear what Peter Walton's got to say. Yeah, or, like, let's just be real with it. Or sit there, they don't tune into TV to watch it, to hear what Peter Walton's got. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
they're tuning in for the players of the team they support. Yeah, or the game that they're invested in. Right, and I just find it mad. Yeah, that so many of these people now are being elevated. Like, who's the other one? What's his name? He was in the studio with Mcclaren listening to footage the other day. What's his name? Ex-referee.
Clattenburg?
Howard Webb.
Howard Webb.
Howard Webb. Again, why are we making him a celebrity? You're just an ex-referee, mate. Yeah, you weren't any good at football. That's why you become a ref. Like, let's just be honest with it. Yeah, let's just be real with it. Simon Jordan doing a podcast with what's the one that's just retired? What's his name? Everyone says he's a Spurs fan. Every Arsenal fan goes, "Oh, he's a Spurs fan." Yeah, every time he refs us, we win. Yeah, what's his name, man? Can't remember. Mike. I don't even.
The matters bit is I don't even know half the names.
Mike Dean.
Mike Dean.
Again,
right, yeah.
Why is Simon Jordan doing a podcast with Mike Dean? Why nobody cares what he's got to say? Yeah, Mark Halsey was another one back in the day. Yeah, Mark Halsey used to be on everything back in the day. Why? You're a ref, mate. It's not about you. Nobody cares about you. They care about the players and the team that they support. Yeah, but the way these people are being lauded up and put up here, yeah, at the end of the day, they're referees. That's it. Not ex-referees. And the thing is, now everyone's talking about VAR. Right? VAR. All it's done, Simon Jordan made a good point earlier. He said all it's done is take it away from everyone talking about the ref. So now everyone talks about VAR. All you've done is shift it from here to there. The fact is, there's always wrong decisions in football. That's how it has been. Now, if you're looking for perfection, it ain't happening, mate. Yeah, and I'm not one that sits here and cries about referees in terms of their performances on the pitch. Sometimes I'll sit there and say, do you know what? That was shocking from the ref. How's he sent him off? But that's not the reason my team lose a game. Like, I don't look at it like that. I see people sitting here, Terry, all since this has happened. Oh, Sheffield United, yeah, right? They had a goal, right, that went over the line and it wasn't given, and then they got relegated off of that. No, they didn't. Do your research. They finished 9th that season. They got relegated the next season. The amount of people I've heard say that, oh, Sheffield United, no, they got relegated the following season. They finished 9th that season. Yeah, I didn't see no hoo-ha back then. Like, come on, get over it, man. At the end of the day, people are saying, oh, but that could be the reason why you don't win a league. Or that could be the reason why you get relegated. What about the other 37 games then? Yeah, it's just embarrassing, mate. Like, at the end of the day, they're going to cock up. They're human beings. Yeah, and people are saying it's conspiracy this and conspiracy that. It's amazing how many teams have got conspiracies against them in the Premier League, isn't it? There's a conspiracy against Arsenal, apparently. Conspiracy against Tottenham. Now against Liverpool.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing I push back on. There is no conspiracy against any one club. Some super chats here. First one says, worst club this could happen to. We'll never hear the end of it for decades.
Facts, Justin.
Is what Justin says. Post-game interviews should be mandatory for refs. Yeah, listen.
I do like the idea of that, but at the same time, what's the point? Because again, you're making them celebrities, and everyone's just going to get on their case even more. What's the point?
I hear you there. Completely spot on, Lee. As has always been the case, that club is offended by everything and ashamed of absolutely nothing, is what Steve says here. The ref should have to do a presser after the match like the players and coaches do and ask real questions about game decisions. Well, if they're like the questions journalists ask football managers, it'd be crap, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Will the goalkeeper, Mikel, with the surname beginning with R, be playing this weekend against Bournemouth? That was one of the questions. Yeah, I'm getting the word. You know what I'm saying? I do me a favour, mate. Yeah.
If you ever watch Phoenix Nights, you're not going to get that reference. But there we go. How can they do their jobs if they are not even paying attention? Exactly. I agree with you on that.
How do we know they're not paying attention?
Well, they can't be. Again, what would lead me to believe they're not paying attention is if they didn't realize that the goal had been disallowed in the game, if the flag hadn't gone up, because they've got more camera angles than we have. If they're watching it, there's just no way they didn't see that. So it tells me they weren't paying attention. And then what's happened is, for me,
possibly they're going to release the footage, aren't they? The audio.
We'll know soon. We'll know soon.
I find it is very weird with VAR. There's one thing I will say, right? The camera angles for offsides is insane. Did you see the one at Luton? Did you see the camera angle for that? Like, why do they have the camera angle so it's going diagonal across the pitch like that? Yeah, what you see when they've got that they've got all the wires in the pitch and the camera zooms right down low and then it goes back. Why don't they do that with VAR? Like, for
they have a camera in athletics. They have a camera that keeps up with the 100-meter sprinters. Whoever's in the lead, they have it like on him. So surely we could just have something like that on both sides of the pitch that stays with the last man as well, and that then gives you a very accurate reading of where things are. They can digitalize it, use it with AI, and go boom, offside. They could probably give you. I guarantee you, there's technology out there that could give you offsides within 99.9% accuracy within a split second. But the Premier League's got to spend the money on it. I have to respectfully disagree with Lee. I'm fed up of poor officiating being the talking point every weekend. Officials are essentially influencing the season. They are all mates. It's a joke, is what Tad says.
It's been the same since football began, bro. Yeah, everyone used to sit in the pub and moan about referees. Now they sit on social media, blow everything out of proportion, and make it even bigger than it is. Yeah, back in the day, you'd walk out of a football stadium, oh, that ref was shocking today, and then you go and sit in the pub for an hour slagging the ref off. Yeah, now everyone's just doing it on social media, to make themselves look good. Oh, look at me. Oh, I'm going to help force change. Like, I'm not having to go at him. Yeah, big up to you, bro. But they're influencing the season every season since football began. Yeah, because there's always been wrong decisions. Yeah, if you go back to I think the first ever Champions League final in 1955 or whenever it was, Real Madrid got a penalty. It was never a penalty in a million years. Yeah, they ended up winning the Champions League off of that. Yeah, this has been the same since football began. Yeah, but now it's on social media. Yeah, and social media, it's got more eyes on it than 10 people sat around the pub table. Yeah,
my biggest issue, I'm all for, I agree where Tad's coming from. I want them to get better. I want more accountability, transparency. My biggest issue is, and I do feel it as a Man United fan, it was only last week. Again, where were Liverpool? Where were all the rivals then? When you've got, the people don't need to like Gabby Abonglahor, but what we have to remember is when he's talking on the radio, his shows that he's on have millions of listeners live on radio, and then there's millions of views that they get across socials. That's highly influential, and they're also a paid partner of the Premier League. Okay, when he sits on there, when, as an example, when Casemiro grabs Hughes around the throat and says, straight 100% red card, he could be arrested. It's a disgrace. Kids are watching. He's meant to be a role model. And then the following season, when Rodri does exactly the same thing, he has a go at Gibbs White for going down too easy. That's for me where I
WWE or something. He said, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. That's where I have a problem. So this doesn't get called. What my problem is with the referees, but it's the way that the media will attack or defend certain teams more than others. Certain media, and for me, that's where I also have a big problem here, because I can guarantee you, if something like this happens at the weekend to Arsenal or Man United, it will not get this level of attention.
There's more people in the mainstream media that are Liverpool than any other fan base. Now, I'll give another example. Man City lost at the weekend. The winning goal scorer shouldn't have been on the pitch. Have you heard any Man City fans moaning about it? They've been cussing Haaland for doing nothing.
True.
Yeah. There you go. It tells you the difference.
It's true. Again, no one's talking. No, I hear you, mate. Liverpool's victim mentality. I will say this, by the way, because I know Lee didn't mean it in this way. When people are calling Liverpool victims, they are not referring to anything to do with Hills. They're talking purely about moaning about decisions, refereeing decisions. It's talking about that element of the game, nothing to do with tragedies from the past. I just want to state that, and I don't think any of the super chats have been about that either. So I don't want people twisting people's words on this. Talking purely about where things go against them in games of football. We're talking football here.
Yeah, they're always allowed this. They always allow this when it goes against them, but never say anything when it's for them. Like I said, two finals: League Cup final, Champions League final. Do they want them games replayed? They don't, do they?
If you're a proper football fan, you should just want consistency in refereeing for everyone, rivals included. The level of refs in the Premier League is a joke, is what Mike Delaney says.
That very quickly, right?
Yeah, go on.
I agree that the level of refereeing is poor, right? But is it poor in other leagues? Does everyone watch other leagues? Does everyone sit down and watch relentlessly like the Premier League to have?
No one does. Right?
Do you know I'll give you one more example. The referee that booked about 1 billion players in the Holland Argentina game in the World Cup, right? Yeah, I think he booked 13 players and 2 red cards in a Barcelona game last season. Yeah, last season, Elche against Cadiz, some of the worst decisions you'll ever see from VAR. But because there's less eyes on that league, that don't get highlighted.
Do you know what I thought this week? As much as our referees are poor, when it comes to like the Middle East is looking to grow its league and everything else, it's our referees they want. So there's something in that. Maybe
that's another thing as well, right? I've seen people moaning about that VAR guy was in the UAE. Oh, that's not fair when that part of the world own clubs in the Premier League. Okay, if he'd refed in Greece, would you all be crying because the Forest owner's Greek? Like you wouldn't, would you? But because it's again, oh, it's Man City, it's Man City, it's Man City. They're so obsessed with Man City. How about be obsessed with your owners to get better than Man City? How about that?
Yeah, I hear you on that. This here says the refs are so incompetent, it makes me wonder if there's a bit of corruption mixed in. I watch Serie A and the refs don't make the same mistakes. Now, I will say this about corruption. I'm not saying there is, but to believe that...
That's funny saying that he's mentioned Serie A, yeah? Right? The amount of teams that have been relegated for that is mad.
Well, this is it. This is what I would say. I wouldn't... If it came out that referees were on the take or referees were match fixing or referees are doing things with gambling companies, I wouldn't be surprised. Why? Because corruption exists everywhere and always has done. Back in the day, Lee, there wasn't the money involved in the game. There is now. There are more repercussions and money lost.
It's all relative, though. Yeah, the money 20 years ago was relative to what the income of the club was, and so on and so forth, and how much the tickets were. Everything was cheaper back then, so the money was less. As it's got further and further with inflation and stuff like that, and more eyes on the Premier League, the money's going up. So is the revenue of the club. So are the ticket prices. I see a Fulham fan moaning earlier on TalkSport that it's 160 quid for their game against Man United. Fulham, wow. 160 quid.
I remember going to watch Fulham play in the Prem years ago. Family stand, you just turn up tickets. It was £20 to get in. £20. Crazy. PG MLL also admitted they looked at the wrong camera angle for Garnacho's offside against Arsenal. They didn't know how to use a tech. But this is exactly my point around transparency. And if we understand the protocols and processes and there's transparency on it, it means you can be held account because they're not regulated. So when I worked in banking, there was a regulator that would come in and make sure that you were doing all the right things for customers. Customers couldn't check everything, but there was a regulator that did. When it comes to the Premier League, no one regulates it. So if we don't have transparency, they can do whatever they want. Let's just say they went and checked 2 other angles, and actually it turns out Garnacho's onside. Unless we, the fans, push pressure on them to show us, then they may never tell us, and you may never find out you were robbed. And that's why we need the transparency, in my opinion. That comes
back to having the right camera angle in the first place. Because, like I said, the amount of times we're looking at it on the TV, at what they're looking at, and the camera angle for an offside is diagonal like that, rather than straight down the middle. Yeah, so you can't see. You've got an angle like that, and then they're pinching this and moving this. Just do an overhead.
Mikey says, I agree with you, Lee, mate. Just saying that they weren't the biggest league in the world. Our standards should be higher. I agree with you on that. Surprised it's not Arteta's fault. The refs are bad. I'm Spurs. Us fans getting together and enforce change on PG MOL. No more conflicts of interest. Full audio comment transparency and automated offside systems. I agree with that, my friend.
If Spurs fans are getting together, are you all going to demand a replay then? Just out of the fairness of the game.
Stop the lie, Terry. Nowhere in the statement did Liverpool mention they wanted a replay. Listen, my bro, I'm not taking Liverpool to court over this, but I'm telling you now, right? I can read between the lines. What else are they suggesting? They've left it very open-ended to interpretation. So either tell us exactly what you mean or I'm allowed to interpret it. But even Jamie Carragher said it. I think they want one. Jamie Carragher's words were, Liverpool legend. They've asked for a replay without asking for a replay, is what they've done. And we all know that. We're not stupid people. PG Miller haven't said anything about the Garnacho goal. Okay, fair enough. They haven't. I haven't personally seen it. Forgive me, Terry. I know you're not big on the NFL, but what's your thoughts on Taylor Swift and Travis? Is that pronounced Kelce? Okay, I don't know who he is. I know who Taylor Swift is. And do I think Taylor Swift is attractive? Yeah, Taylor Swift is an attractive woman. Not my bag, not my cup of tea.
Gotta get a beer, mate.
Not my cup of tea, bruv. But yeah, she's all right, I suppose. but not my cup of tea. Not what I would go out my way to date. But lovely to lots of people, I would assume. So there we go. Moving on, people. Moving on. Man United play tonight. And hopefully Lee can hear me. How important is it that Man United beat Galatasaray tonight? 9 games into the season, 5 defeats, and the pressure is mounting. We've had the Zlatan interview today talking about how you don't get time at United. A lot of United fans are Ten Hag out. How important is a win and a performance for United tonight in the Champions League?
Depends what you want. If you want the manager out, you're probably hoping that you lose tonight, so he'll be gone. Like, if you want him to do well and turn it around, then you're hoping for a win tonight, isn't you? But I don't think you'll lose. But you never know. I don't think you'd lose against Crystal Palace at the weekend. So it's going to be very interesting with his selection tonight as well, because there's reports doing the rounds that your other goalkeeper's in tonight, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, I know Onana's not been the greatest since he's got here, right? But he was in a Champions League final last season. And now you're dropping him, but you didn't drop him for the League Cup game against Palace. And your manager's sitting there saying, "Oh, the reason we didn't drop him for the Palace League Cup game is because he needs to get more of a feel of his teammates in England." What's that all about? And now you're going to drop him for a Champions League game? Not quite sure about that one, mate. But Ten Hag's a serial waffler anyway. I told you this, Terry. He's a compulsive liar. The guy just chats rubbish. So in terms of the game, I don't really know what's going to happen. And I wouldn't be shocked if you lost. Like, they've got not a bad team, to be fair. Like, they've got some all right players. I wouldn't say they're amazing. Dries Mertens, Zaha, and Dombele. Who else they got there? Icardi.
Do you know what it is? It's a team. Their team is almost. It's like a team of has-beens. That worries me. Yeah, it worries me. It being a team of has-beens and sort of Premier League players that never really quite cut the mustard, or players that were heavily tipped to be superstars that never quite made it. It's got Galatasaray win all over it. It's got Galatasaray win all over it.
It wouldn't surprise me if they won. But having said that, it depends what team you pick. If you go with the same players that have been stinking it out, Rashford, I mean, come on, seriously, mate. Since that guy signed his new contract, he has been shocking.
It's been awful.
Mudrik's on the same amount of goals as him, by the way, this season in the league. Mudrik, same amount of league goals.
He needs. Listen, I'm not just to keep it on Rashford for a minute. I completely advocate Rashford needs to be dropped. I did a starting lineup for the Palace game, and he weren't in it. And I got United fans trying to come for me. I'm like, listen, I love Rashford. There's so much about my rate, but when any player's not in good form, I don't want him playing. I don't care what his name is, who he is, what he's done in the past. This isn't. I'm not on the line of sell him, get rid of him, but he shouldn't be starting these games. And that's where, if he starts tonight and has another stinker, it's another one of those moments where you look at the manager and go, "Come on, like give somebody else a chance." Put Martial out there, who's not been bad when he's come on in the last few games. Garnacho was very good against Palace. Give somebody else a go. If he keeps getting picked when he's out of form, no wonder there are players that are starting to question him internally. You've got to get these decisions right, Ten Hag. And you're bang on. Rashford right now needs to be on that bench 110%. Has to be. You can't play
Amrabat at left back, I'm afraid, either. I'm sorry. That's just mad. That is crazy. Yeah, Mason Mount, again, another one. Bruno. Mate, your team's on its backside. I can't lie.
Let's go back. Let's go back, because you just said I like to unpack these things. So Amrabat left back, I understand he's not a left back. He was playing there. He did well against Palace in one game. Yeah, I agree with you. I would put Delo at left back tonight and put Lindelof in a right back position. That's what I would personally do, and put Amrabat into the middle where you want him. Mason Mount, though, again, I don't know about your view on it. I don't know how much of the game you watched, because clearly you were watching Arsenal as well. But he did quite well against Palace. He most Man United fans, even the ones that didn't want him, I thought he was been all right in his last couple of games, Mason Mount. He hasn't been a problem. And Bruno, again, he's the only guy on Saturday that was creating our chances. Nobody else. And I get the argument. Somebody else might create more. Who? Now, this is the problem with taking Bruno out. Who's going to create our chances? He's the only guy that did anything Saturday. And I'm not saying I don't want more from him. But like, in the Man United squad, we take Bruno out. Who, in your opinion, is going to create the chances that he creates?
Maybe Eriksen. Play Eriksen in that position rather than ruining him at number 8.
It's a good shout.
Yeah, if you want to play Mason Mount in the 8. Play Eriksen in the 10. Yeah, and then Casemiro in the 6. Yeah, and then like you said with the back line you just mentioned, yeah, go with that. And then up front, yeah, Højlund, Martial off the left, and I don't know, or Garnacho off the left and Martial off the right. Even put Martial up front and drop Højlund. So you've got options, but Ten Hag, we know what he's going to do. I can predict your team right now. Yeah, Rashford and Bruno start, Mason Mount start, Amrabat be at left back. Yeah, I don't know what the centre backs you've got fit. I don't know, but if Varane's fit, he'll start. Yeah, not many. Johnny Evans maybe, but we all know what your team's going to be, and if we all know what the team's going to be, Galatasaray know what the team's going to be. So I think that's going to be a struggle. I can't lie, but I don't think he'll lose. I don't think they're good, mate, if I'm honest. But then neither are you at the minute. But if he does lose, yeah, they'll all have their Norwich scarves out, booing at the end of the game, right? All going on social media, Glazers out, Ten Hag out, and then probably tomorrow he'll be sacked. Because if you lose that, that's what 10 games, 6 losses.
Yes, which when you consider that last season he had a win percentage of 73%, to start the new campaign and have only a 40% win ratio, lost 6 of 10 games, and it would also be our 3rd defeat at home this season. When you consider again, we had such an imperious and strong home record last year. To lose, it's worry. Look, and I've said all along, I want to see when the majority of our squad's fit, if there's improvements. In the Palace games, we had more of the ball, we were doing more of the things, we had more of the patterns and more of the movement that I expected. We've not been finishing our dinner. But there does come a point where you have to look at the manager as well, because that's going to be very intriguing to see what happens.
If you sack him, just give it to Steve McClaren. I'm not even taking the mick either. Just give it to Steve McClaren. I think Steve McClaren would have more respect of the players than Ten Hag. Yeah, because he's been there with Fergie. Yeah, he's done it. Yeah, he was part of winning backroom stuff under Fergie. Yeah, and I think that they would respect him a hell of a lot more than they're respecting Ten Hag right now, because he has lost that dressing room big time, mate. Yeah, and then players ain't trying. Yeah, when I did watch the Brighton game the other week, you know, we're walking at home to Brighton. Like, that's just embarrassing, mate. Like, honestly, embarrassing. Yeah, and then the game at the weekend, great finish from the lad. Yeah, but did anyone think you were going to get a goal? Like, real talk, did anyone think you were going to score? So, yeah, I'd give it Steve McClaren until you go and find time. People are lighting up in the chat laughing. Yeah, but I'm not even taking the mick with it. Steve McClaren's got more respect of that Man United lot than Ten Hag, in my opinion. And I think that if you do lose, he's sacked. And then give it to Steve McClaren until you go and find someone else.
And do you think sacking, if he does do that, do you think McClaren coming in and finding a replacement, do you think that's going to fix Man United and get the club back to where it needs to be? Because
Zlatan was talking an immediate upturn, in my opinion.
Yeah, I get that.
An immediate upturn, you're never going to get back to where you're going to be, mate, until you get rid of the owners. Like, you're never going to be that team you were under Fergie. Them days are dusted. Until you get rid of them Glazers, you're effed.
Which is interesting, because the Zlatan interview today was, people have put quotes up. And when you read the quotes, sometimes it looks like he's really ripping into Ten Hag. And then other times he's kind of defending him, because he's essentially said that Ten Hag's experience is at Ajax. And he goes, you can't compare Ajax to Man United. Ajax, lots of young talent. The pressure's different. He says that Man United, you're handling a lot of big egos. And he says the manager has no experience of that. And then Piers Morgan says to him, is he out of his depth? And he says he's not out of his depth. He said he just needs to learn how to operate in that environment, and it takes time to do so. But then him and Piers go on to talk about how, but at Man United, you don't get time because the demand is to win now. But the problem that you have, and you just hit the nail on the head there, Lee, is that some of us have this, we need to win now. We're Man United with the biggest club in the world. But like you just said, with our owners, we don't behave like the biggest club in the world. We don't operate like the biggest club in the world. We haven't been competitive as the biggest club in the world for a decade. So to have standards on the players and manager to achieve an outcome of what you would expect from the biggest team, one of the biggest clubs in the world, when at the same time you admit we're not run like the biggest team in the world, we run poorly, we have bad standards internally, fans have got to adjust, not permanently, but they have to adjust in the short term in terms of what they expect medium to long term. You're right, by the way. We go and bring another manager and a better manager in everybody's eyes. And by the way, every time we sack a manager, the new guy is better for one reason or another. There will be an upturn, 6 months, 12 months, but in 18 months to 2 years, we'll be back here again. And I implore Man United fans to understand that nothing will change. And I get having high standards, but I said it on a video earlier, you know, if I expect my children, I've got high standards for my kids to do well at school. If I'm letting them eat junk food, not making them sleep, I'm not making them do their homework, how can I push those standards of high academic achievement on them if I'm not giving them the breeding ground to be successful in life at school? And as a Man United fan, I look at it very similarly. How can I expect my manager and players, medium to long term, to have standards up here and achieve this when I know my owners and the way we're run is down here? Something's got to give in terms of that. And it probably is what you've said, the club being sold. But because our fans are too, I don't know what the right word for it is, weak maybe, to actually protest properly, give up season tickets, walk away from the club. It looks like
too much invested interest. There's two channels, two United channels out there that are interviewing Bruno after games with their VIP passes and press passes. Yeah, they ain't going to call them out, and they're two big channels. Yeah, so they'll go a little bit, but then they won't go all the way. Like you've invited one of them, yeah, to collab with you to do a whole Glazer protest. Yeah, so they won't because there's too much invested interest in it, Terry. There's too many of these big accounts online, yeah, that get a little bit like a little bit of you know, oh, you can come for a freebie at the executive box this weekend. Yeah, because they're posting out prop all day long. Like, they'll post out some negative stuff about the Glazers. Yeah, but they won't go all the way in on managers and players because they get perks out of it. Yeah, all the journalists that are invested in Man United, the same journalists that go to the press conferences every single week. Why? Same with Arsenal. It's the same journalists asking the same dead questions week in, week out. Same at Tottenham. Right? And I said to you about the goalkeeper beginning with R. Yeah. Check this one. Ange Postecoglou sitting in his press conference the other day before the Liverpool game. Yeah, the day before, 2 days before the Liverpool game. Hi, Ange. As somebody who's an avid FPL football player online, do I need to substitute James Maddison out this weekend? And he went, I couldn't care less, mate. Literally, I couldn't care less. What a dumb question. You have done a degree in journalism to ask that in a press conference. But again, it's because they get a little sweetener here and there, Terry. And Man United do it as well. They get the sweetener. The leaks come out. Oh, let's give it to that.
I agree with you on that. That element I agree with. I would have so much respect for a journalist who turns around to Ten Hag today or yesterday in a press conference and said, Man United fans are calling for Rashford to be dropped. We can all see that his performances have been horrendous. Can you give us a detailed explanation and explain to us and make us understand why you're not dropping him?
Especially after you said that Sancho was poor in training. This guy's poor on the pitch.
Okay, cool. Yeah, add that. And you ask that question, you may not get an answer, but no answer is an answer. You may get banned from the press conference, but but that's what journalism used to be. I didn't like the journalists that Fergie used to ban because I love Fergie, but they got banned because they asked difficult questions. And that needs to listen. If I would have access to that press conference once probably, and I would ask a question like that. And I'm not even asking it to necessarily make the manager look bad. I want an answer. Do you know what I want answers to? I want answers to fan debates. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So when people, when people say, I don't understand why X is happening, well, let's fucking ask the manager why and see what his answer is. At least then we might understand things. And for me, it's the lack of understanding that creates half the problems. And they don't ask any relevant or good questions. They're all bollocks.
Closed shops. These football clubs have been extremely smart, in cornering every single part of the market, mate. They have the big fan channels. They have the big online accounts, the mainstream media. They've cornered everything. And now, like there was a Fulham fan, like I said, he was moaning about 160 quid for a Man United game at Fulham's ground against Man United. He said, the West London derby, the SW6 derby last night, he said it was full of tourists. He said there was hardly any Fulham fans in there. That's why they want football, mate. They don't want the average fan who's grown up watching Arsenal and lives around the corner and goes every year. They don't want you there because you ain't spending money, mate. You buy your ticket and you go home. Yeah, you'll pay your season ticket and you go. Yeah, and I'm not dissing people that go and they spend hundreds in the shop. That's up to them. They can spend their money on what they want. But that is what the clubs want. And fans that are locals, around the corner, been there doing it for 20 years, 30 years, traveling all around Europe and all of that, they don't want you. What are you doing? All you're doing is spending £1,000 on a season ticket. You ain't buying all the club merch. You ain't buying every training top. You ain't buying every single match day program. You ain't going to go and do 500 quid in club level on drinks and food. You ain't going to do that. Yeah, you're going there to watch the game and get the tube back home. So you're no use to them. So they will try and filter you out. And the way they filter you out is by raising the prices constantly and pricing you out of it, which is what that Fulham fan was saying. Bang on with his call as well. Absolutely spot on. They're pricing everyone out. Yeah, because they don't want the working class guy around the corner watching it.
And I hear you on that. There's some super chats here that say you consistently make excuses for 10 fraud and only blame the Glazers. Do you honestly think Pep Klopp wouldn't win with the amount of money that United have spent? Well, firstly, I don't just make excuses for Ten Hag. You clearly, I've quite literally criticised him on this video. So the problem is with your statement is you've lied from the first line is a lie. I don't consistently defend him. I've criticised him on many, many things. I've blamed him for many things. So that's a lie. I blame the Glazers for where the club is because that's an absolute fact. Do I think Pep and Klopp wouldn't win? I've already said before that if Pep was at Man United and has spent the money that has been spent by our club in the last 7 years, we'd have won some major trophies with him because he's that good. But I don't believe we'd have had the success that he's had at City. I don't believe we've had a manager at our club that's been as good as Pep either, by the way. So yeah, if we bring Pep or Klopp in, I think they'd do a better job than the manager that we've had. But I don't think we'd have the sustained success that Pep has had at Manchester City. You also hear say, Terry, before the season, you said that your expectations of the Ten Hag this season was progression and to challenge for the title. If not, then sack him. Why are you backtracking? I'm not backtracked at any moment. The season is still only 7 games old. We're still in all the other competitions, and there is still room to improve. So if we get to the end of the season, we have not progressed the team, or if we get another 10, 15 games in and we're out of the Champions League, we're out of the League Cup, we're 10th in the league, then we've clearly seen no progression. Therefore, I would say I think he has to go. So I can't backtrack on something that hasn't happened yet. I've also said that I want to give him another 5 to 10 games with his team to see what the improvement looks like. So I respect the super chats and you donating, but both of your super chats about me have been absolute cast iron lies.
That comment, very quickly, that comment where I don't know if it was the same guy, said the season's only 7 games in. That's 20% of the season, nearly. That's 1/5 of the season, right? And this is what your club did last season, and this is what my club did the season before last, I think. Yeah, when we lost the first 3 games. Yeah. Oh, we've lost the first 3 games. Oh, but if we'd started better, he's turned it around. Yeah, because you've got results that you should be getting, and you lost the first 2 games last season.
Yeah, again,
this is the thing. When people sit there, Terry, sorry, very quickly, yeah. When people sit there and say, yeah, but if we had won them first 2 games, we got off to a poor start. Mate, you got 36 more games. Yeah, so why are you counting all the way through the season the fact that you lost 2 games at the very beginning? Yeah, and that is another example of standards on the floor, because now it makes it look like a manager is overachieving because they started with 2 losses. You shouldn't start with 2 losses against Brighton and Brentford.
Yeah, so I totally get where you are coming from, and I think that again, it's all about what people expected before the season began. So before last season began, people wrote us off completely from competing in any level anywhere. So still finishing 3rd and winning a trophy was overachieving based on the general perception of where we would be. I still want to see where we end up this year. I'm not ready to sack him at this moment in time because we're still in 3 cup competitions and trophies are everything. If we end up finishing 4th this year, win an FA Cup and the League Cup and do okay in the Champions League, and we progress, I'm not going to look at it and go, the most amazing season ever. I'll assess the situation, but then I would be demanding the following year that there can be no bad starters. You've got to go because you've had long enough to build your team. And that's why when it comes to that super chat, I'm backtracking. I haven't backtracked in any way, any shape, or in any form. I've literally said in the next 5 to 10 games, if there isn't dramatic improvement, we're still seeing players not running, people not listening to him playing players that are out of form when he should be giving other people opportunities. I'm going to be turning around and saying, I think his time at the club may be done. As much as I want him to have time, he's got to show me he's worth it. Like, I don't understand why there is a lack of balance with football fans these days. Which manager should come in and how will he overcome the problems at the top and break the same cycle all the other managers have done?
You're not going to get an elite level manager, mate. Let's just be real with it.
That's also part of the point.
Their soul is going to touch that job.
But again, I don't even know how many. Again, yeah, you're right. So that's where also you have to look at this situation and listen to what Zlatan has said today. Who is going to come in with the experience? Who is out there who is going to work at United with the experience of managing superstars, with a winning pedigree both domestically and in Europe, who will come to Man United? Who actually is out there?
Fancy Flick.
Again, I disagree. Yeah, I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's that guy. Zidane doesn't want to manage in England. Not attainable.
I'm quite sure if you drop 50 million in his bank over the next 5 years,
maybe. But thus far, when you listen to the French
football
expert,
you never know.
Okay. But what we know right now is other clubs have approached him. Doesn't want him and his wife don't want to be in England. So as of right now, he's unattainable.
I don't think he'd take the job. I'm only bantering anyway. I don't think any manager that's half decent, I'm talking decent, is half decent upwards is going to touch that job. You're going to be looking at the De Zerbis of this world, mate. Another hipster that's going nowhere. Like I've said many times.
This here says, what about Simeone at United? He could take. But again, I don't think it would work.
My man is never leaving until he's ready to leave.
But it's not even about him. It's him and the Glazers together would be like water and oil.
My man would be in jail real quick.
The point I'm making is, as much as some people say, but it would out the Glazers for what they are, it's not going to help my club. And if it doesn't help my club, I don't want it. It would just be waste of money. Both channels with VIP media passes have repeatedly criticised Bruno, Rashford, etc. Lee is saying rubbish.
Criticising, and calling people out consistently are two different things. Because you can criticise Rashford, Bruno, of course you can. Of course you can. Yeah, but when they're consistently not calling them out for consistently ghosting games, that's the difference, mate. That is the difference. Yeah. Like I've said, it's all about the passes, bro. It's all about the passes. Yeah, they don't consistently call out the Glazers. They don't consistently call out the manager. They don't consistently call out Marcus Rashford this season. But they'll say he's not playing great, but he's scored 30 goals last season. You've got to keep going with him. No, you don't. Is there a better player in the world than Marcus Rashford in that position? Yes, we'll go and get him then. Pretty simple, isn't it? They're replaceable employees. I don't get why people are so attached to Marcus Rashford.
If Pep came to United, Bravo would still be our goalkeeper. That's probably true. There's a lot of truth in that. Lee Gunner is one of the few real G's left in football commentary. Calls it like it is. Twitter is absolutely fire. You're all right too, I guess. Thanks, mate. I appreciate the compliment. This year says Liverpool will never get a replay. Why would Spurs say yes when we got 3 points in the end? Liverpool fans have had more VAR go for them than against them. And again,
that's 9 points last season off of VAR decisions, which was more than anyone.
There we go.
ESPN tweeted that out. And it's full of Liverpool fans in the comments saying, well, maybe they got the decisions wrong in the first place on the field. Or ain't that the idea of VAR? Or clear and obvious errors.
I hear you there. This here says, Terry, what's the point if it's all wrong from the top, unless you find someone with Fergie's profile, which I don't know who it is. No, I agree with you. And I've said this about the last 3 manager sackings, that I don't, and Lee will probably back me on this. I'm like, I'm excited about a new person coming in maybe, but I still don't think it's going to fix this in the long term.
The Glazers out for as long as I've known you, Terry.
So win, lose or draw. So I hear you, but fans are too fickle or thick. Being a United fan over the last decade has given me a taster of how Lee has felt over the last 20 years. Big up, guys. I love the show. Thank you very much.
Be careful, mate. You're negative, toxic. You're not allowed to want your team to win, mate. It's all about vibes, dogs, phases, and unicorns.
This year said there's a compilation of Lee Gunner complaining about referees on YouTube and him blaming Arsenal's losses on Mike Dean. Is that true?
Well, I've actually done a stream on Mike Dean before, and I brought up every single time Mike Dean's reffed Arsenal. Yeah, and how many wins, draws, and losses we've had. But this guy, I need to get a restraining order on him anyway, bro. Like, he's all over my Twitter account, honestly. Literally every single day. Every time I do this show, I think he's blocked on my channel. One of my mods nuked him.
on you guys, you must have been. There's a lot to talk about with Arsenal. You must have been so happy that not just it was such great leadership, such great togetherness from your team. Brilliant performance at the weekend, smashed up Bournemouth, Another very good victory. Put yourselves in a good position to go top potentially this weekend when you play City, which we'll get on to. But your captain and your players getting behind Kai Havertz, giving him that penalty, getting him that goal, the togetherness, the emotion, the environment around your club right now is excellent. You must have been so happy with the win and with Kai Havertz kind of breaking his ducks, getting that pressure off his shoulders, and hopefully, him and your team going on to that next level now.
Smashed up Bournemouth.
Yeah.
The score flattered us. Let's just be real with it.
Nah.
It went a 4-0. Did you watch the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go then. Yeah, the scoreline flattered us, but the penalties were nailed on penalties. Yeah, and the fair play, we scored 4 goals. Fantastic. That was the best result in terms of goals scored in the Premier League this season for us. But it wasn't all glitz and glamour performance. Yeah, they were getting into our box way too easy. And again, our 2 centre-backs were man of the match. And our 2 centre-backs, our centre-back for me, Saliba, in the North London derby was man of the match. It weren't fantastic, but it's a win. And Man City lost, so it edges us a little bit closer. Yeah, but at the same time, it weren't scintillating. How many saves did their keeper make? Yeah, we were clinical. That's what I will say. Yeah, Saka on the spot, nods it in. Great pass from Odegaard. Jesus, I don't know whether he was trying to head it back and it hit the bar and bounced back out, but either way, back of the net. I'm not sure about handing out penalties left, right, and centre, though, mate. I'm really not keen on that.
So you don't think it was a good thing to let Kai Havertz get that goal, help to try and boost his confidence? And if his confidence, hang on. So if his confidence is boosted, that could help Arsenal. Why is that not a good thing?
That's his confidence boosted. Well, because he scored a penalty.
Yeah, that might help him. Why would it not help him?
Do you know what I think, right? Let me just say about the Saka one to Odegaard first, yeah? Saka stood over that penalty for about a minute and a half, and then gave it to Odegaard. That's now mad pressure on the captain to now score. Right? And you're now making a thing out of it. Well, it is. It's pressure to take a penalty.
He would have known that was coming. The goalie would have known that. Odegaard would have known he was going to do that. They've done that for a reason. Because I've seen footballers talk about this. What Saka did was stand there with the ball.
That doesn't mean they spoke about it.
Hang on. They would have known this. They would have known, because this is what they do. I've heard professional footballers speak about this. Somebody standing with the ball like they're taking it. They're the ones who might have a player or two in their ear, giving a bit of jip. The goalie might be chatting to them, but in fact, it's Odegaard. He's focusing on what he's going to do, and then right at the death, they go boom. They switch it. It's a tactic footballers have done before. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Okay, but either way, it was a good penalty. But
yeah, exactly, it worked.
I'd rather just have one penalty taker, Terry. Yeah, I'm old-fashioned, mate. One penalty taker. Yeah, that should be your captain, maybe Odegaard, or your best player. Yeah, maybe some people will say Odegaard again. Yeah, but most consistent player, Saka. Me personally, on penalties, I'd probably have Odegaard. Yeah, or Jesus. Yeah, and that's another thing. We then get the second penalty, nailed on penalty again. Odegaard gets wiped out, and then Jesus is standing there with the ball in his hands, ready to take the penalty, right, to put it on the spot. Odegaard has a word with him, and then they shoehorn Kai Havertz into it. If that all went sideways and wonky, that could have buried him. Yeah, and that's why I don't. No, it didn't. Yeah, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, Terry. But even he felt embarrassed celebrating. Did you see his celebration?
Exactly.
Arsenal fans in this chat, right, that watch that game, or even fans that watch that game that aren't Arsenal fans, his celebration, it was almost like he was embarrassed, Terry. His head was down. He kind of done a little half fist pump and walked off, and they were kind of pushing him over. Listen, fair play. People say, oh, yeah, it boosts his confidence. It's great leadership, like you just said. Yeah, well, mate, he scored a Champions League final goal. How many goals did he score the next season? So you can talk about confidence all you like, Terry. The fact of reality is,
I understand where you're coming from, right? But I don't see why. And some of your tweets after the game were crazy to me. Your team wins 4-0. It's been an impeccably good start to the season in all competitions. Still in the League Cup, where you went out last year. Smashed it in your first Champions League game. Better defensive record last year. We both agree that a better defense gives you more chance of winning a major trophy. The goals are now starting to come. Yes, your team, to go 3-0 up, helped a player who's been struggling since he's joined you, which shows such great unity at your football club, great leadership at your football club. I don't understand why, after that game, there is any reason to be annoyed, frustrated, concerned, or worried. I know you don't rate Kai Havertz, but Kai Havertz getting a goal, Kai Havertz scoring a goal shouldn't therefore make you frustrated or angry. I don't understand it.
What do you mean frustrated or angry at Kai Havertz getting a goal? I couldn't care less whether Kai Havertz scores 10 goals, 20 goals this season. He ain't good enough, Terry. Yeah?
So if he scores 20 goals, you don't care? If he scores 20 goals
if it leads us to nothing, no, I don't. If it leads us to nothing this season, no, I don't. Yeah, irrelevant goals that lead to nothing are irrelevant. Look at Marcus Rashford's goals. Yeah, look how many Premier League goals he scored last season. What did it win you in the Premier League?
Hang on, but when you say goals, Rashford's goals led to a trophy last season, which you say is the be-all and end of a sport. You've done yourself there.
Premier League goals.
Oh, Premier League goals. So, okay, so every goal scored in the Premier League by a player in the team that doesn't win the league or irrelevant and mean nothing.
Yeah. I don't, mate, it looks good for their Instagram and it looks good for the people who rep them and have Marcus Rashford doing this as their profile picture or Saka throwing a dart, yeah, or doing that as well. Yeah, it looks good for their Instas and that. Yeah, but ultimately, if you scored, like, look at Harry Kane. Harry Kane has scored how many Premier League goals? They're irrelevant. He's won nothing in the Premier League era. Yes, at Tottenham, he won no trophies. Every goal he scored for Tottenham has been irrelevant. It won nothing. Literally won nothing. Matt Letizia, all of his goals were irrelevant. It won him nothing. They're irrelevant. Yeah, it looks good. Oh, Matt Letizia was a fantastic footballer. So is Harry Kane. But ultimately, all of your goals that led to nothing are irrelevant.
But what if the goals, again, I understand where you're coming from to a degree, but where I think you're off is that if you've got someone in your team, so let's just keep the point. You said 20 Premier League goals from Kai Havertz this year is not good enough.
No, if we don't win the league, no.
Okay. But if he gets 20 goals from him as an attacking midfielder, is that if attacking midfielder scores 20 Premier League goals for an individual, is that a good return in your opinion?
If you win nothing, it's irrelevant.
Again, so we're going to get to this point here because it's a team sport. But if he has delivered 20 goals, that's a good achievement from him, right?
Well, for him personally, yeah, but for the club, no, because if it ultimately doesn't win you a title,
let me keep going and building up this point. So it's good achievement from him. I just want to ascertain that you would understand that that's a good thing from him. But what if it isn't Kai Havertz who stopped you from? What if it was 3 or 4 terrible goalkeeping errors that make you drop points, that mean you narrowly miss out on winning the league? Kai Havertz has done his job within your team. Somebody else could make a mistake that costs you just enough points to make you not win the league. That's why I think this notion that nobody's goals are worth anything and they are pointless and I should not praise them or look at them as a positive in any way, shape or form because they haven't delivered a trophy. By that same standard, do you not rate any player, no matter how good his ability is, how good his goals are, how good his creativity is, if he's never won a league title?
You can rate a player based on their personal ability. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, and they score goals. Whoopie-doo. Harry Kane is a fantastic footballer. I've said this for years. Yeah, unbelievably talented footballer. Yeah, and cool. Now he's going to go and win some trophies. So his ability is going to lead to winning stuff. Yeah, his ability at Tottenham. Yeah, people can say, oh, but Tottenham are rubbish and this and that. Mate, Harry Kane is a fantastic footballer. But he's won nothing at Tottenham. And he's been in teams at Tottenham. He's been in teams at Tottenham. I appreciate semis and finals, Terry.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. Why do you rate Trossard then when none of his skills and ability, goals or assists have ever led to a Premier League? Why do you advocate for him so much?
Because he's better than some of the players we've got.
But how do you know that?
It doesn't mean I wouldn't hold him accountable as well. Yeah, I'm the same with every player, Terry. Yeah, same with every player at Arsenal. Yeah, Martin Odegaard scored 15 goals that were irrelevant last season, led to nothing. Yeah, Martinelli scored 15 league goals, led to nothing. Same for every single one of them. You can score all these goals and it looks good for the people that rep you on Twitter and have your profile picture because they don't want to show their own face. Yeah, but ultimately you have to win a trophy, mate. And if these players are scoring goals that don't win trophies, what's the point of it? That's like me doing the lottery every single week, right? Every single week I'm doing the lottery, yeah, but I never win the jackpot. What's the point? I'm wasting my money every week.
So I understand where you're coming from. The problem that I have with that is that doesn't mean every single player. And again, we give a hypothetical scenario. I'm saying, why were you upset? Go back to the original point here. Why were you upset or frustrated that Kai Havertz scored? You said it doesn't matter how many goals he scores, he still won't be good enough. Even if he scores 20 league goals, unless that leads to us winning the Premier League, it's irrelevant. I just disagree with that point because I think that there'd been many
you said about my tweets and I was upset and angry. I don't get what you mean.
Well, I saw you were annoyed that he got given the man of the match. The fans voted for him.
Yeah, he shouldn't have got man of the match.
And your general demeanor after winning 4-0 wasn't like a fan of just the way you came across to me. The way you won 4-0. Yeah. And I'm asking why it comes across that way. Why do you come across
I'll tell you what, you've got your computer sat in front of you right now, yeah? Because you're saying I wasn't happy and I was upset by Arsenal winning 4-0.
By your tweets. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Type in on YouTube right now, yeah, my channel. Go to my fan cam after that game and play the whole 10 minutes. I won't do you for copyright, sorry. Play the whole 10 minutes. Because apparently I was upset and angry and I was pissed off with Kai Havertz that he scored. And I was so aggressive on Twitter, yeah, because of how you felt in your feelings, yeah, and emotions. Now go and watch my fan cam. Play to all. How many people are watching this right now? No. How many people are watching this right now? How many people are watching this right now?
3,500.
3,500. I'll give you permission without copyrighting you to play the whole 10 minutes of my fan cam. Fast forward the first minute where I promote the other channel and thanks for watching the watch along. So go to 1 minute something in and watch the last 9 minutes. Yeah, play the whole thing right now to 3.5 and tell me I was upset and angry.
So let me just say to you now. So from my point of view, I trust you on that. I'm sure. Listen, just let me finish. I'm sure that you were in that, but you were definitely angry at or frustrated or annoyed with Kai Havertz being given the man of the match.
Yeah, he wasn't man of the match. He shouldn't have been. It was
okay. Let me finish. And I've also, I haven't heard the song, but I heard you're raving about this song they've created for Kai Havertz as well. Like, I don't understand. You're saying you weren't angry, but look at your reaction now. Like, you might have been happy in the match reaction, but you're not. Your demeanor's always annoyed. And the better you guys do, Lee, generally with you, the better Arsenal do. Even though you have moments where you say, well done today, your general demeanor is more annoyed when you win than when you lose.
Terry, you're chatting bollocks. Yeah, you're chatting bollocks. Arsenal won 6-0 against Seville in a pre-season friendly at the Emirates Cup last summer. Not this summer gone, the summer before. And I always put it, and people that are in this chat that watch my channel and watch my fan cams, I always put my mood in the fan cam brackets. Yeah, the brackets in the title. Sarcastically Gunner. Happily Gunner, yeah, upsetly Gunner, yeah. I always put it in the brackets. Why did 67,000 people watch me being happy in the title after we beat Seville 6-0? Why did 80,000 people watch me be happy with Arsenal winning a cup semi? Why did 90,000 watch me be happy on a watch along for the cup final? Yeah, tell me. Because apparently I'm more negative after Arsenal do better. Well, Arsenal haven't done better since we won an FA Cup, and it's one of my highest viewed videos. And so is the semi-final. What, they all coming to laugh at me? No, listen. One other thing I want to say as well. One other thing I want to say as well. Because you're saying I was unhappy, but you didn't watch my fan cam. You just see a couple of tweets where I cussed a song. Yeah, I cussed a song, which has nothing to do with the result, by the way. Yeah, and I cussed him being man of the match, which again has nothing to do with the result, by the way. So you're taking them two things and making out I'm unhappy with a result of a game, which I'm clearly happy about. It says it in my fan cam title, and 9 minutes of me being happy. But two tweets that are irrelevant to the actual result of the game, you're taking as, oh, Lee's unhappy. Yeah, that's not the case, Terry. The song's a disgrace and he weren't man of the match.
So I hear you on that, right? But I said based on your tweets. I didn't say based on what you did in your fan cam. But you also tweeted something along the lines of...
You didn't watch the fan cam. You just jumped on the two tweets.
Yeah, but hang on, Lee. I did. But I didn't... I was specific and said based on your tweets. So I didn't say you just weren't happy at any point on Saturday whatsoever. I was saying based on your tweets.
But why is this a thing then?
But you made it a thing. I didn't mention
just admitted that you watched my fan cam and then two tweets that are written text
rather than... I didn't say I watched your fan cam. No, I didn't. You may have misheard me. Maybe I misspoke. I
misspoke.
No. Maybe my words came out wrong. I didn't say I watched your fan cam. What I was about to say a minute ago is I've watched many of your fan cams where you have been happy and people twist things. But there was also a tweet you put out, and I don't know if I'm wording this exactly right, but it was somewhere along the lines of best performance of the season today. but it was like, but at what cost? Like, enjoy it while we can, talking about the injury problems. For me, so again, seeing you say, well done today, best performance of the season, but at what cost, enjoy it while you can, alluding to and implying that this is as good as it might get and we're going to fall away. I just sort of look at it sometimes like, oh my God, you just won 4-0. You've got first world problems right now when it comes to your football team. Now,
not at all. Not at all. No, let me come back on that. Let me come back on that.
Why not? Why not?
Let me come back on that. We went 3-0 up in 55 minutes. Why is Saka staying on the pitch? Answer me that. This is a guy who has played 88 games on the spin in the league for Arsenal, who has been kicked left, right, and centre, and again walked off or hobbled off of that pitch. Oh, by the way, was injured. Had the medical staff come on, say, I'll walk it off, was limping all over the gaff. You could clearly see he weren't 100%, weren't even 50%. And we kept him on, and they made a sub before we subbed him off. And you're telling me that at some point in the new year, this ain't all going to come and catch back up with us. The manager even said, I've even got the quote, Terry. I will read this to you, from his own lips. But we all know they're bullshitters, right?
So you know they lie. So why are you worried about it if they lie? You know they don't tell the truth. So why worry about it?
No, wait.
But you know they lie, but then you hold them to account for what you think to lie.
I'm asking you your perception of this.
Okay.
I'm asking you. What do you and the viewers think of what he said? Where is it? They were waffling about, you and your friend, the Bournemouth manager, you played together. Nobody cares. Right? Nobody cares. Where is it? On why these injuries have occurred. Because apparently we had about 7 players out injured or whatever, Different reasons. Some of them happened in training and some of them had knocks and small muscular niggles. But the load, I don't know what that means. Is that games? Yeah, the load played a part. Going to their national teams, coming back from their national teams. Player goes to national duty, comes back from national duty. It happens every September, Mikel, right? The load went through the roof when they came back. That's because we're in Europe like we was last season, Mikel. The load's exactly the same, mate. But anyway, the demands continue to be really high. And the fact that we have had 3 or 4 players out already meant that these players didn't have enough time to recover, right? What I read into that was you're basically playing players that ain't 100% fit because we had 3 or 4 players already out injured. Well, on that basis alone, my 4 out of 10 rating for the transfer window is spot on then. Go and buy better players that can sit on the bench or at least start games that you can rotate comfortably without burning Saka into the ground, without having to keep Odegaard on for 90 minutes on a 4-0. Could have took him off after 50 minutes, 55 minutes. But instead, he looks at the bench and the bench ain't good enough because we've got 3 players out. Well, buy better players in the summer then, and you can bring some of them off of the bench instead of looking at the ones on the bench going, don't really fancy that, mate. What do you make of that? Because he's basically saying, I've played players that are not 100% fit. So
just to understand you, so you agree that because the bench isn't good enough, he was right to leave the likes of Saka and that on?
No, why can't Reece Nelson got dropped at the weekend? Yeah, why? Why did he get dropped? He scored a goal against Brentford that was the winning goal to get us through to the next round of the League Cup. Yeah, he had a decent performance that night, hit the post as well, nearly had a brace. And his reward dropped.
Okay, so who would you have kept Reece Nelson, who you say isn't good enough for Arsenal? Who would you have kept him in the team in front of?
I would have dropped Saka.
Why?
Anyway.
Saka's had a brilliant start to the season. Why would you drop him for Reece Nelson?
Okay, cool, fantastic. Watch Saka in the last 10 games of this season. Yeah, the same as the last 2 seasons. Yeah, he'll be absolutely shot to bits by March, mate. Yeah, like he has been, Terry, for the last 2 seasons. His performances in the last 2 seasons, in the last 10 games of them seasons, has not been great. Yeah, and he was a big part. I'm not blaming him, but he was a big part of why we didn't win the league.
Did Saka
same with Ramsdale, same with somebody else.
Did Saka start the League Cup game?
No, he weren't in the squad.
Okay, but that was where he got rested then. That's the point. So Reece Nelson came into the first team so that Saka had a rest, so that Saka would be starting the game at the weekend. And those decisions have been done for many, many times. So listen, based on what your manager has said, first of all, I'd say this: we don't have any specificities. You don't know which players he's saying are unfit, which had knocks, which ones are tired, which ones. So he hasn't gone into specifics.
No, we do, because the players that were listed were Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Fabio Vieira.
But within that, Okay, but within that, he didn't specify which ones were tired, which ones had knocks, which ones had muscular injuries. Did he specify who had what?
No, because these journalists just sit there and go, okay, Mikel.
Okay, fine. So this is my take on it. We know that managers give very generic, very open, very beige, very bland answers. I didn't think as many of your players were injured as your press conferences were making out. I had a manager at my club who, for my whole life, you know the amount of times Fergie would say, so-and-so's out injured, don't know when they're going to be back, and then be in the starting lineup at the weekend. And what you figure out after a period of time is some of the times it's mind games, some of the times it's just playing things down and removing pressure from people, whatever it may be. There's a multitude of reasons that it could be. What I find interesting about you, Lee, is that you say that 1 minute you say that managers just lie in press conferences, but then you hold them to account based on what they say, but you also say they're lying. So if you know they're lying, then maybe some of your players aren't as injured. No, I'm not twisting it. Let me finish my point. If you say that and you said this on many shows, Lee, that managers lie and you don't believe a word that comes out of their mouth, at the same time, you're angry that he said that you had players that were unfit and had injuries and he's playing them for longer than you think they should based on what he said. But if you've already concluded that he lies, then you can't be angry about him playing players that he said were injured because you say he's a liar. Therefore, they weren't injured. Based on your own logic, they can't be injured then, or they may not be injured. So why be angry? It doesn't make sense. He is a liar,
first and foremost. Yeah, the reason I've brought that up on here, right, is because of what you've said. Oh, no, but they don't always lie. They don't always lie. How do you know he's lying? You've said this to me on many shows in the last month.
Lee,
which is why I read that out to you to get your idea.
I have, and I gave it an answer. But my point is, you say no, they're liars. So again, you do this a lot. You can challenge me on my opinion. Lee, you can challenge me on my opinions when I say something based on what I have said. You can challenge Joe Bloggs on what he has said based on his view of football. But you can't use my opinions to back up your own
I'm not.
You say he's a liar. This is what you do. You say he's a liar, and then you hold him, and then you turn around and moan that he's playing players that he said were injured. That doesn't make sense.
Wait. I'm not contradicting myself at all.
Yes, you are. Of course you are.
No, I'm not.
How do you know they're injured?
Everyone tells me, that Saka's going to stay fit. He's going to be fantastic. He's going to be this and that. Cool. Fantastic. We can quite clearly see, every football fan that's watched Arsenal this season can quite clearly see that guy is knackered. Yeah, he is shot to pieces and he gets kicked and fouled and thrown up in the air and hobbles off nearly in every game and comes back on. Then he hobbles off again. Then he limps around. Yeah. And the manager's sitting there saying, well, we had 4 players out injured, 3 or 4 out injured. Okay, cool. Yes, he may be lying. I think he probably is lying. But at the same time, Terry, when I'm being told by millions of people all over the world and I'm seeing millions of people everywhere telling me, oh, yeah, well, this manager's amazing, this manager, this. Cool. Don't come back crying at the end of the season when we've won nothing and Bukayo Saka's injured for 4 months. Yeah. God forbid he ain't. Yeah. But let me tell you right now, that boy has played nearly 90 straight games for Arsenal in the Premier League. 90. 88, I think it is, or 89, whatever it may be. Yeah. Are you telling me, right, my tweet that I put out, at what cost? Because again, he went off injured. We know he's got a recurring Achilles problem. That's already been reported in the media. He's got a recurring injury to his Achilles. He gets kicked and limps off the last 2-3 games that he's played, Terry. Then he's fit and ready to play again. At some point, that kid is going to break down. Yeah, that kid is going to break down. Yeah, and that's what I meant with at what cost. Because we could have hooked him off after 55 minutes. We didn't. And then he limped off. And again, and he's been in training this week. He's flown to Lons. He'll probably play tonight. Yeah, and cool. But again, we've got Man City at the weekend. Yeah. Then we've got another big game against Chelsea after the international break, which again, our manager didn't know there was an international break coming up in 2 weeks. Yeah. He thought it was after the Bournemouth game. What can you tell us about your 5-phase plan, Mikel? What kind of question is that for a Bournemouth press conference? Right. And he said, well, the next phase is the 24 hours leading up to Bournemouth to get the win, hopefully get the win so we can go into the international break happier. Mate, we've got a game tonight and we've got a game on Sunday. Not one person challenged him on, no, Mikel, you've got 2 more games coming up. Yeah, but my point with that tweet, Terry, was at what cost? Because I see the bigger picture. I don't go game to game, mate. Yeah, I don't just go, oh, well, we lost 4 in a row. Yeah, but now we've won. No, let's all get the bunting out. No, listen, I see what's coming, mate.
So I understand where you're coming from, but back to what I originally said, and I said it in the fan channel review that I do. And for me, it doesn't bother me because, you know, we get on, we're pals. It's funny to me. I just find it hilarious.
Yeah, because you have no context with it all the time. You see two tweets, I didn't watch my fan cam.
Lee, it's not about context. I know you well enough and stream with you every week to understand your disposition. We spend at least 2 hours a week together doing this and have done for over 2 years. That's enough time, in my opinion, to understand your disposition.
No, I agree. But at the same time, you took 2 isolated tweets when there's a 10-minute video on the same day after the game and you didn't even bother to watch it.
Yeah, but Lee...
so you took 2 isolated tweets that had nothing to do with the result.
So first and foremost, the fan channel review videos are tongue-in-cheek satire. They are not serious.
Okay. Well, your audience don't take it as tongue-in-cheek. Look at the comments.
Again, I'm not responsible. Are you?
Well, you are responsible, Terry. You got
I am not. Hang on a minute. I didn't think you'd ever do one of these lefty things. So you're telling me I'm responsible?
You're responsible for having context behind what I'm saying.
No, I'm having a laugh and a joke.
Two isolated tweets.
Let me finish my point. Let me finish, Lee. Let me finish my point, Lee. Let me finish my point. So I'm not responsible if someone watches me laugh at a video of yours with me being sarcastic about it. If somebody misinterprets the sarcasm and doesn't understand it, I am not responsible for their inability to understand sarcasm and their lack of brain capacity. Otherwise, by that logic, we all have to go around with everything we tweet and say and do and explain it in intricate detail so that everybody definitely understands. Because you are not accountable, Lee. If you tweet something tonight and somebody misinterprets it and goes on a rampage and abuses someone or attacks me or says something horrible, you're not accountable for them not understanding it. That's not on you.
Can I ask you
one question? That's not on you at all.
It's a fan cam review show you did, yeah? So why are you mentioning my tweets then? Because they're not fan cams, are they? They're tweets.
No,
why didn't you mention my fan cam that you didn't watch?
Lee. Now you're getting pernickety. It's been
I'm not getting. It's a fact. Your words. Let me tell you why. Fan cam review show. You don't want me to ask you why?
It's not called the fan cam review show. It's been called the Fan Channel Review Show for years. And what we have reviewed on it since day one has been videos from fans and from pundits and tweets. The one thing we stopped doing on there because the feedback weren't great, we used to change the tone of the voices. I've been doing it for 7 years, Lee. So it's always been there. And it makes me laugh that sometimes you've won a game, your club's in a really good position, and it makes me chuckle. Not in a horrible way, because I always defend you online. I always defend you on shows.
My tweets had nothing to do with the result.
Well, they definitely did when you say, well done on the result, but we won't be enjoying it for much longer. That's to do with the result. Man of the match is to do with the game. Literally directed. Those tweets were directly about the match that you had just won 4-0.
Kai Havertz getting man of the match had nothing to do with my feeling on the game. It was he shouldn't have got man of the match. That's a totally separate topic. Yeah, he shouldn't have got man of the match. Wait, then I've said best performance of the season. You clearly said I said that. Best performance of the season, but at what cost? It's a question. At what cost? Enjoy it while we can. Yeah? Enjoy it while you can. Because in my opinion, yeah, taking Saka off on 70, 80 minutes or whatever it was, when you could have took him off on 55, yeah, is going to do more harm than good. You're 3-0 up and coasting. Hook him off. Yeah, the fact Odegaard played the whole game was mad to me. Yeah, that was crazy to me. Why? Because if he gets injured, who's creating? Well, we're going to put Havertz there. Or Vieira.
It's good to see you actually rating Odegaard at last. I like it.
No. See, again,
talk to me about one thing. Why are you upset that the Arsenal fans have given Kai Havertz a song? And what is this song?
I'm not upset by Kai Havertz having a song, Terry. Yeah, but it is the most cringe song. We always do these cringe songs. Your defense is in trouble. Eddie in the room. How many goals he scored since they made that song up? How many goals he scored?
Okay, 3? But what's wrong with the Kai Havertz song?
The Kai Havertz song, 60 million down the drain, Kai Havertz scores again. They back that out after he gets a sympathy penalty. I turn it in. This lot should be on X Factor, mate. I can't lay on top of the pops. Like, real talk. Mate, do you know what's even more crazy? This lot are still singing Tierney at the back. He plays for Real Sociedad.
Right. Man United fans still sing about players that have left that club 10, 15, 20 years ago.
No, that's great. We still sing about Vieira and all of that lot. Cool. But you're actively singing Tierney at the back, Gabby in attack. We're on our way to Champions League or whatever. Tierney don't play here. He's on loan.
He's still a
Change
player.
the lyrics.
Oh, come on now. You're being pernickety. But how does this Kai Havertz song go? How does it go?
I don't even know. All I heard was 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz has scored again. Yeah, which, well, I don't know if they're trying to be funny against people saying 60 million down the drain.
I think it's again. I think Lee. I think you're missing from. I'm not missing it. Do you not think it's a little satire? It's a little ironic.
It's the most dry. He scores a penalty. It was a good penalty, a good finish. You hit the side netting with a penalty. It's always a good finish, right? But at the same time, they backed that out after a sympathy pity penalty. Like, come on, man, have some shame. Have some shame. Like, honestly, mate. Like, but this is the thing. Arsenal fans, it's all about PR. It's all about hype. It's all about togetherness and feelings, dogs, phases. They're like, oh, it's the loudest away team that have ever played. Oh, who cares, mate? Win the title. Yeah, be loud and make songs up about champions of England and stuff like that. Like, how about that? Yeah, come on, man.
By the way, speaking of Tierney, you seen Tierney, now that he's starting games again, he gets about a 3-month injury. That boy's biscuits, isn't he?
Again, another bit of misinformation. Yeah?
What's that?
Misinformation. Real Sociedad haven't confirmed how long he's out for. But a website called Team Talk, nobody's ever heard of him, yeah, have said he's out for 3 months. How do you know that? Real Sociedad came out and done a statement saying that he's gone for a scan. Yeah, they're going to do a second scan to make sure, and they can to make sure it's not serious, and they can put a timescale on it. As far as I'm aware, at 4 minutes past 6 Spanish time, that statement ain't come out telling us how he's out for. Furthermore, yeah, this major injury-prone left back, yeah, because you've started me now. This major injury-prone left back is less injury-prone than the current left back we have.
Do you know what my theory is on him, though? The reason why he stopped getting so many injuries, Kieran Tierney, is because he stopped being played regularly. I do have a feeling that he's a kind of guy that once he starts playing regular football, the biscuit body breaks down.
Not at all. And now let me kill that myth as well. Yeah, you sound like a top gooner, mate. Right? Let me kill that myth. Kieran Tierney is 6 months younger than Zinchenko. They're both 26. Zinchenko's 27 in December. Tierney's birthday, same as mine, my boy. Right? But he's played 50-odd games more than Zinchenko.
Right,
50 odd, yeah, 300 and something games, 320 odd games, and Zinchenko's played 270 something, right? And I posted this out on Twitter, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, but you said Tierney's only not been injured since March last year. That's because he's barely played." So cool. I then went through to 2021-22 season. Oh, but why are you making it 21-22 season? Well, Zinchenko's been out 30 games. Yeah, 30 games since then. 30. Partey's been out 32 for club and country. Tommy 27, Tierney 13. Right? People can bang on about how many games. He's played more games than Zinchenko, who was a left back apparently. Right now, if you go to actual days missed through injury in their career, Kieran Tierney 533 days missed through injury. Alexander Zinchenko 570. Go on transfer market. Tierney's got one page of injuries.
I'm not bringing.
No, but the narrative is, and the reason I brought that up online at the weekend. Wait, the reason I brought that up, right, is because there's so many accounts out there hyping it up. Oh, Tierney's out injured. He smashed some bottles in the tunnel on his way down the tunnel. Okay, cool. These are the same accounts that laughed and took the piss out of Balogun missing 2 penalties in one game, right? But then failed to do it likewise and tweet at the weekend that Balogun's goal helped them go top of the table. Yeah, and then they tweet out about Kieran Tierney. And they're basically saying, reading between the lines, oh, look, we were right to get rid of him. He's injured again. When the left back we have has had more days off injured than the left back that's on loan.
So I understand but again, but you haven't debunked my theory. So I'm not your factual information about Zinchenko is great.
Sorry, one more thing. Right? Kieran Tierney in the last 2 seasons has played 700 minutes less football than Zinchenko.
But what's that got to do with
my point? What, 6 games?
That's fine. But my point wasn't that Zinchenko's got a better injury record than Kieran Tierney. My point is, I don't think Kieran Tierney has a good enough physicality and injury record to be a mainstay player at your club. I think that he has got these problems. And
but on that basis,
Lee, that isn't the point. Let me finish the point, because you're taking it into an argument about Zinchenko that I am not making. My point to you is this man's never played more than 30 league games for you, ever. Never had more than 30 league appearances for Arsenal, ever. And I'm just being consistent with my view on players at my club and across the board. Why didn't I want one of the best technical footballers in the world, Neymar? Because I just think his body is broken, and I think he's going to spend too much time out. And as he gets older, and you've seen what's happened so far in Saudi, man, ain't really set the world alight over there, because when you keep getting these injuries, at some point, your body just stops working as a professional athlete. And I think with Kieran Tierney, I think your club is doing the right thing by moving him on now, because I don't think...
I don't disagree. Let him go. Cool. I've got
that's
no
all my
issue with
point
him
was.
going.
That's
What I
all
have
my
an
point
issue
is.
with him
That's it,
going...
done.
No, what I have an issue with is people sitting there chatting bollocks, right? Oh, he's always injured. No, wait. He's always injured.
That, we're talking.
He's always injured. I'm not saying you, yeah, but if the cap fits, tell. Yeah, I'm saying people always accuse him of, you're always injured. Well, I've just told you he's played 700 minutes less in 2 seasons, last 2 seasons, right? Last 2 seasons, he's played 6 games, 700 odd minutes less. Yeah, go and check it. I checked it the weekend. I posted it all over my account, right? Because I'm sick and tired of people waffling. Oh, he's always injured. That's why we got rid of him. Okay, well, we've replaced him with a left back who's more injured, because he's been out injured more days in his entire career, more days in the last 2 seasons, yeah, more games missed in the last 2 seasons through injury than Kieran Tierney. So when people want to have chest for Tierney, have chest for Zinchenko then. Yeah, because their argument doesn't hold up. If you're saying get rid of him because he's always injured, cool, well, we better get rid of him as well then, because he's more injured. Tomiasu's more injured. Partey's more injured.
So listen,
but it's cool with Tierney, and this is my
argument.
Point. What it comes back to,
I don't disagree with.
What it comes back to, if Arteta wants him, I want him, and if Arteta don't want him, they'll slag him off. That's it.
I hear you on that. I hear you on that. I want to do some of these super chats here before I ask you another question. This is it. To be fair to Lee,
anyway,
no worries, mate. To be fair to Lee, he's been very balanced and happy recently. Even said Kai had a good game, so not fair. It's great to see, and I can't wait for the celebrations when he wins trophies.
Big up to you, mate. He jumps in my watch-alongs every now and again in the comments. Big up to you always, my friend, because context is key, and Terry doesn't like context sometimes. Yeah, he just takes isolated information without context and makes a story out of it. So big up to you, mate. I'm going back.
You do the same thing whenever you say something that Ten Hag said, but you read the headline and never give it any context because you don't actually watch the
I'm being proven right about your manager, mate, because he's likely to be sacked if he loses tonight.
But that isn't the point I made. That's irrelevant to the point.
Mate, you were losing 1-0 at the weekend. He throws Harry Maguire on to shore up a 1-0 loss, yeah? Cool.
But what's that's irrelevant to the point.
This is a play we don't like, apparently, Terry.
That's irrelevant to the point I just made.
It's not. All right, listen, I'm going to pee myself.
Because overall, you're not happy with Arsenal, are you? So, but I can say my overarching point is right, because Lee Gunner's not happy with Arsenal. The point is, on my fan channel reviews, I'm going to twist and take things and have a laugh and a joke with them because it's a satire show. Best show of the week. We are definitely beating the depleted Abu Dhabi this weekend. Enjoy the evening. Thank you, my bro. Terry, why are you still making the Arsenal scary videos as a United fan? Are you on a whole different level, mate? It's like Burnley fan worrying about City. It's called my job, son. You must be so happy, Lee. No legend. Thank you, Mr. Tybox. The team shouldn't have had to get around 65 million signing. That 65 million signing should be raising standards of the team. Totally love this Tuesday afternoon. Straight facts. Big up Lee and Terry. Hope you and your families are well. Can we beat City this weekend? Well, that was going to be my next question for you. Do you think, can you beat City this weekend? Are you feeling confident about Arteta and your boys doing it?
Nope.
Why not?
Upset everyone. Oh, you're so negative. Why not? Have you seen our record against them? Oh, but records are there to be broken. Yeah, okay, mate. Yeah, like they've just had their best start to a Premier League season under Pep, but apparently we've bridged the gap. Yeah, after we beat MLS All-Stars 5-0, we've bridged the gap. They're weaker. They've just had their best start ever under Pep.
Do you know if you beat them at the weekend, it will be a worse start for them than last year, points-wise, after 8 games? Yep. So, I mean, you could literally, again, on another note, if you win that game, which you've got a chance of doing, it's a worse start than last year. And you guys, barring 1 point, every other metric of yours is better than last year. So, again, I know you might not do it, but Arsenal are on the cusp of a really good start again. But why, again, other than history, why don't you think you've got the ability to beat them?
Terry, look at the record, mate. The record's ridiculous. Yeah, at least KDB can't get his standard man of the match and goal against us this year. But you know, I just look at people are saying no Rodri. I see all of our fans laughing. He got sent off. Oh, he's suspended. Like, they need Rodri to beat us. How many times have they beaten us before Rodri played for them? Like, come on. Yeah. If I'm Pep Guardiola right now, I'm saying, yo, Doku, yeah? Doku, bro, you're on Zinchenko's side. You're not playing left today. You're going Doku. Doku, you're going over on Zinchenko's side because Zinchenko can't defend. And they've got good attacking players. So straight away, that's a red flag for me. We're going to play a defender who can't defend. Right? So that's one weak area on the pitch. And that's probably our weakest area. Declan Rice has been superb. He's been absolutely quality. It's like he's played here forever. Yeah, so I think midfield, if we go with Havertz next to him, good luck. That's now two weak areas. Because now we've got Havertz and Zinchenko, both on the same side. Any competent winger goes straight past the pair of them. Yeah, and if I'm Pep, I'm saying, yo, you're on Zinchenko's side. Grealish, you're on Ben White's side. Winning foul after foul after foul after foul. Yeah, and Doku, if Zinchenko wants to go gallivanting like he always does, then who's defending? Who's defending him? Well, then we're going to slide Gabriel over, but then that means that Saliba comes over, which means Ben White comes over, which means Grealish is going to have Saka back there, which means we're not going to be so potent. But on the flip side, Trossard's back. Yeah, that's a big boost for us. I think. Well, we'll see what happens with Saka. Yeah, the guy's always literally limping off the football pitch recently. So I don't know, but listen, he's scored in pretty much every game he's played this season, or done something in every single game this season, and he's our most consistent player. Jesus against his old team, I think he's quality footballer, but will he get us enough goals? That's my only issue with him. I don't think he will to win a title. Midfield's going to be key. They got Bernardo back. Yeah, they got John Stones back. They could go with Haaland, Alvarez, Doku, Grealish. They could have Bernardo in midfield with Calvin Phillips. Although that's a weak point for them. He's useless. Yeah, he is shocking. True. Just see him for their losing goal at the weekend. He was just standing there ball watching. But I don't know, man. Like, their defense is too good. I know they conceded 2 against Wolves, but their defense is too good, mate. Their goalkeeper's world class. Their defense is world class. And they've got defenders that can defend. None of this inverted rubbish. They defend. Yeah, Kyle Walker. And if he's on that side with Doku, oh my days,
he's no inverted rubbish. I swear Pep was the man that brought the inverted stuff into the Prem.
And guess what? He's now stopped doing it, and everyone else is 2 years behind. Genius. Because now he's not doing it.
He was doing it last season when he won a treble.
No, he was doing it last season until he put Nathan Ake at left back, which was halfway through the season. It was in January he did that. He put Nathan Ake at left back. And Nathan Ake weren't inverting all the time. Nathan Ake was getting up and down the pitch. This is the thing. I still see his players that play at fullback coming on the inside and picking the ball up in the middle. I still see it. And someone's talking about it. But sorry, they don't do it all the time, is what I'm saying. Yeah, right. Nathan Ake does not invert and gallivant over to the right wing. How many times have Arsenal fans and other people, you watch Arsenal, how many times you've seen Zinchenko at number 10? When do you see Nathan Ake at number 10? When do you see Nathan Ake at right wing?
That's what Zinchenko does. But yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. And the problem is, that's all well and good against teams like Bournemouth. Fantastic, cool. Right? But against Man City, when they have got a potent attack, yeah, you can't be doing that. And I'm hoping that he ain't going to be running around. I don't even want to see him on the pitch, if I'm honest. Yeah, I can't stand him. Yeah, I can't stand that guy, man. He can't defend. He's just a PR puppet. Virtual signaling one as well. And I'm sick and tired of him. Yeah, he's not very good. I would rather go with Tomiyasu at left back, if I'm honest. Put Tomiyasu at left back, drop him, play Saliba and Gabriel, and then play Ben White at right back. Yeah, midfield, I'd go with Thomas Partey, he's back. I'd go with Partey, Declan Rice and Odegaard, and then the front three, I'd go Jesus, Trossard on the left, Saka on the right. Yeah, and I think that we'd be a little bit more solid defensively without the ball. Yeah, because Tomiyasu ain't going to go gallivanting. Yeah, if Zinchenko plays, yeah, good luck. If Havertz plays, we're finished.
I mean, listen, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, you sound like you've got absolutely zero confidence whatsoever, though.
I never do against this lot, Terry, unless it's at Wembley. If it's at Wembley, it's an out-on win. Yeah, like cup semis, Charity Shield, like we've done them so many times at Wembley, it's crazy. But in the Premier League, nah. Yeah, and let's be real. Like somebody said, didn't City lose recently? And what? And what, mate?
Twice actually in a week.
And what? And he's only ever lost 3 times in a row, once in his career, and that was 8 years ago at Bayern Munich. Yeah, they're playing Leipzig tonight. And either way, let's just be real with this. Yeah, Man City could, if they lose tonight, then they are like ready to take. Yeah, I don't think they'll lose tonight though. Yeah, I think they'll come out with a proper performance tonight and they'll go and slap like they do every year. But in the Premier League, I've got no confidence against them, Terry. Yeah, because the history tells us that we bottle it against this lot every single time. Every single time. And I know you can change that. We've done it with Tottenham. We didn't win at their ground for years until last season. We've done it with you lot. Yeah, won at Old Trafford. I get it. But this is a different animal, mate. Yeah, they've got a geezer up front who was absolutely shocking at the weekend. Yeah, and has missed about 20 big chances already this season. If he finished his dinner, he'd be on about 20 odd goals. And I think he's still the top scorer in the league, isn't he?
Yeah, let me ask you a question then. I understand your disposition on this, and I get it. Say you do beat them and you do play well, and you do overcome this massive hurdle and gateway for you. How much more confidence will that give you in Arteta and your team if that's done? Like, how do you think is this the type of game, based on what you're saying, where if they put the performance in, if they get the win, if they show the guile and the ability to, is this one of those moments that can start to change your mind?
Potentially. But ultimately, you've got to win the league. Yeah, it's no good beating Man City and not winning the title, is it? Because last season we didn't beat them twice and we still didn't win the title. This season, yeah, cool, we get that off our backs, go and beat them, but then you still don't win the title. Like, you've got to do it. Doesn't matter whether it's convincing or not. I'll take a scrappy, double deflected on goal to beat them, but ultimately you then have to kick on. And I do think the mentality side of it with Arsenal, yeah, is if we do beat Man City, I think psychologically, I think that'd give us a massive lift. That'd give the fans a lift, it'd give the players a lift, because the players must be sick and tired of losing to that lot.
Yeah,
like, honestly, like, it was like when we used to beat Chelsea. We could be 2-0 down at the Bridge and then go and score 3. Like, but then eventually Wayne Bridge scores against us, knocks us out the Champions League, and we couldn't beat them for 15 years or 10 years or whatever it was. But then eventually we got that off our back, and now they can't beat us anymore. Same with Tottenham. They need to get that off their back at our ground. They can't, like we did with theirs last season. So we'll go to their ground this season and we'll be like, boy, we beat you last season. We're doing you again. But until you get that out of your brain.
And I hear you, mate. You know me. I think mentality is key. The reason I bring it up is this. I understand where you're coming from. And I also believe a lot of people will make City the favourites in this game. The City are pretty much the favourites in every game they play, probably barring Liverpool away. That's the only game where I don't think they're ever the favourites.
Tottenham away as well. They've never scored
I think there's 2 elements here psychologically, not just for your club, but for you. And I get what you're saying. Ultimately, you've got to go and win the league. I get that. There's no point winning this game and then finishing 4th, right? I get you. But there's 2 things that could happen if you win this game and then do well in your next 2 matches. Away at Chelsea, which let's see what they do in the next 2 games. But Chelsea's probably a game in the last few weeks everybody's wanted. And then you play Sheffield United at home. Should be simplistic, should be. But there's 2 things that I would be looking at from your point of view. And that's, 1, beating a team that you think you've got no chance of beating. What does that do for everybody's mentality? Secondly, if you do beat them and then win your next 2 games, and these are ifs, it would be a better start in the opening 10 games than last year. City would have a worse start than that point. And I remember you saying last year, now, let me get to the end of this because I'm not trying to say you've been caught out. It's not about that. You said we won't start the season as good as we did last year, and City included in that. I'm talking here about a genuine mentality shift and the players believing in themselves. If 2 years running, you have started in not quite identical ways, but you end up in that same position with a slight advantage over them, and you've beat them in that process. Remember, last year in the opening 10 games, the reason you didn't get to play them is because the Queen died. And you guys were absolutely brilliant then, and they won. Right? No, I don't sound like I'm not blaming it on. I'm not blaming you not winning the league on the Queen passing, but it's not. You know this exists in football, right? I'll give you an example. Right now, or in the last few weeks, would have been a pretty good time to play Chelsea. You don't know in 3 months how good Chelsea are going to be because teams go through form and they go through patches. I'm just saying, from this point of view, Arsenal fans shouldn't get carried away, but there's a good opportunity here if you beat City to have a better start to this campaign than last year, when a lot of people, and maybe even deep down inside their own minds, these Arsenal players thought maybe we won't be this good at the start of the season again. That is when I saw Liverpool start doing that in those early years under Klopp. That's when they went on to win titles and Champions Leagues, because they started to believe in themselves. So I'm, as an outsider looking in, I'm very intrigued about this game all the psychological reasons you mentioned.
Whilst that's all good and well, right, and it's great and it's fantastic storylines and all of that. Yeah, somebody says Terry's gassing it. 100% he's gassing it. Right? But at the same time, Terry, even if we are 8 points clear of Man City, yeah, I'm still not confident.
I get that,
because we got shown in the last January transfer window the ambition of this football club. Jorginho, Kivior, Trossard, fair enough.
Best player you bought, your best player in the squad you bought.
Yep, I'm happy with him. I've wanted him for time. I want Pedro Neto at Arsenal. I've been calling that for 3 years. Yeah, now all of a sudden everyone's on the Pedro Neto hype. Where you been? Obviously, had 2 ACLs.
They're irrelevant players though, because their goals and their ability never won a title, so irrelevant.
No, they ain't. Yeah, they ain't.
I'm winding you up.
Listen, he ain't never won anything. But I'll tell you something. Yeah, he's a top player. Yeah, same as Ivan Toney. Yeah, and we're going to see the ambition of this football club come this January. If we go out there and buy Ivan Toney and Pedro Neto, yeah, and another midfielder, and this is what winds me up with the Kai Havertz thing. Everyone keeps waffling about what he does off the ball. Terry, when a footballer's got the ball, there's 21 players off the ball. So why him? Why is it, but off the ball he does it? Okay, well, 21 players are off the ball when one person has the ball. Why is there no excuses for it? And then, he's adapting to a new position. Why don't we just go and buy Mateus Nunes for the same money? Why don't we put a bid in for Paqueta? Why don't we go and bid for somebody else who's an expert in that field? Yeah, instead of putting our money into him. And that is why I will call this club out for its deficiencies at times. Yes, it's been a great start to the season. I said to you on this show, I said, we will not win 9 out of our first 10 games because I wasn't convinced, Terry. I wasn't convinced. Listen, we still haven't won 9 out of our first 10 games yet.
No, of course,
long way to go, right? But at the same time, even if we're 8 points clear going into March, yeah, I'm still not confident because we know that this team, who have had their best start ever under Pep, could be worse off if we beat them, of course. But as it stands right now, it's their best start to a season ever under that manager. But we also know Kevin De Bruyne's going to be back soon, next couple of months. He's going to be back. We also know that they're flying towards the end of the season. They do it every year. Yes, Gundogan's gone. Yes, Mahrez is gone. Cool, Laporte, whatever. Right? But at the same time, we know that when they click, they click. Yeah, and them 2 results that they've just had could be a reason to go, actually, reality check here. We need to fix up. And furthermore, all Arsenal fans that were laughing that they got knocked out of the League Cup the other day, find shame. Yeah, they're genuinely the only club in England who can sit there with a straight face and say bigger fish to fry. Yeah, because they got knocked out to the team that finished bottom last season, right? And then won a treble. Yeah, so have a bit of shame with it, innit? Come on.
I hear you on that.
It is what it is, Terry. Yeah, the fact is, for me, we have to be clinical, right? We have to be super clinical against them, but we also have to be mentally switched on. And we've got too many players in this team that switch off at times. Yeah, in that first half against Bournemouth at the weekend, the amount of times they ghosted into our box was crazy. Yeah, Kai Havertz apparently is great off the ball, never tracks a runner. Yeah, never looks over his shoulder, just lets a man run off him. Yeah, Zinchenko's never in position. And it was only the fact that Gabriel and Saliba were making last-ditch slide tackles in that first half, yeah, that Billing and who's the other lad they got up front? He used to play for Chelsea. Can't remember his name. Solanke. Yeah, They could have both scored had it not been for last-ditch tackles. Yeah, so if we do that against Erling Haaland and Alvarez and Doku and Grealish and Foden and whoever else they've got, yeah, we're in big trouble.
I hear you on that. I want to do some of these super chats here. This one says, started watching the Terrace a year ago. Haven't turned off YouTube since. You are a legend. Cheers, guys. Lee, love your awesome channel too. Thank you, bro.
My friend.
Lee doesn't like Kai Havertz. If he scored a hat-trick, he'd complain he didn't score 4. He's entitled to his opinion, but just constantly wrong, is what Tony believes.
Constantly wrong? What, because he scored a penalty? You lot are so easily pleased. It's crazy. Yeah,
Stop
mate,
talking.
Let me just say one more thing. Right? All these people that just jump on, so when I did the watch along at the weekend, as soon as Havertz scored that penalty, my whole chat lights up. You're in the mud. See, hey, he's proving you wrong. In the bin, mate. 1 goal. Yeah, this is the same people that said just be happy we're top of the league for 93% of it, and then went and disappeared all summer. Didn't see them all summer in my comments. Now they're back again. Just be happy we've won a game. Cool.
You're very clever though as well, Lee. So you basically set a stall out where even if he scores 20 goals, but you don't win the league, you can still say it's crap. If you win the league and he scores goals, you'll still say, what would you then say?
Oh, do it and we'll see.
Because I still think you sort of twist it.
What I'm going to say, Terry, if something is
so what could he? Let me rephrase the question. That you're right. Let me rephrase the question. What does he have to do for you to change your mind and for you to go wrong about Kai Havertz?
Win me a title.
So
yeah, same with Zinchenko. I can't stand Zinchenko. I can't stand Zinchenko more than Havertz, mate. Yeah. But if we win a title, we win the league. Okay. Cool. You've won the title. Well done, lads. Well done.
If you win the Premier League, if you win the Premier League, you'll admit that you were wrong about the ability of Zinchenko and Kai Havertz. So they're actually good.
No, because their ability is the same anyway. Yeah. Doesn't mean I was wrong because they've won a league, but fair play, you've won a league, so I didn't expect you to do it. I'll give you the best example of this, yeah? Aaron Ramsdale. Because these people love to rewrite history, yeah? Aaron Ramsdale, not one Arsenal fan wanted Aaron Ramsdale. Not one Arsenal fan was happy that we were signing Aaron Ramsdale. Then when he signs, it's, oh, well, now he's here. Just back him. Just back him. Okay, cool. Yeah, now we signed David Raya, and their true feelings come out about Aaron Ramsdale. Yeah, not good enough, not this, not that. But what I have said many, many times on my channel that these people don't say is he's actually exceeded all of our expectations because we all thought he was trash. Yeah, but he's actually not, is he? He's actually all right.
Okay, I understand
but these people don't say that, Terry.
I'm trying. Let me maybe rephrase the question. You just said win a title, but then you said their ability don't change. What will make you change your mind about Kai Havertz as a footballer? What does he have to do for you to go, do you know what? I think I've got him wrong. He's a lot better than I thought he was. What is it?
There's nothing you can do. I've seen enough for 4 years.
Or is that just impossible? It doesn't matter how many goals, how many titles, how many big performances he has. You just won't ever rate him.
Happy days, well done. I'll pat you on the back and say.
Lee. So again, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to understand.
Oh, well, let me finish then. Yeah, well done.
There's nothing you can do.
We've had players at Arsenal. Pascal Segan was shocking. Yeah, dead baller. Yaya Sanogo, dead baller. But guess what? You won me an FA Cup, mate. Yeah, you helped us win an FA Cup. Cool, fantastic, well done. Doesn't mean that he's not a dead baller anymore, and I'm in the mud.
That's cool. So let me rephrase it again in your language. What would he have to do to prove that he isn't a dead baller to you personally? What would you just don't?
Terry, I've seen this guy for 4 years.
Stop. So I'm not. So for you, it doesn't matter what he does. You'll never rate him.
No,
he's done.
Terry, I don't rate half of these players that play football. Not just him.
Mate, we can leave it there. We don't need to go anymore. I'm just trying to understand you because I didn't know whether it was something he could do, something he could produce, something if he started delivering more.
Every single week, right? I get told every single week in my shows here, right? Oh, you just need to rate Ben White. You need to rate Odegaard. You need to rate this player and that player. Why have you got an agenda? It's always an agenda, isn't it? There's no agenda, mate. I've seen some of the greatest players of all time, and I'm supposed to rate half of these players that play now. Do me a favor.
I understand you. So I'm just trying to ascertain. So it's not about producing. So if he starts scoring and assisting and helping to win you games, you'd say well done to him, but you wouldn't change your mind about him as a footballer ever.
No, he's shit. Terry, real talk here. You're not a million miles behind me in terms of age.
No.
Why are you trying to hype this up about Havertz if he does
X, Y, and I'm not hyping him up. Lee, you're misunderstanding the whole point of the question. I'm not trying to hype him up. I don't think he's that good. I'm asking you what it would take for you to change your mind about somebody. So there's players out there that I think are good who I think get overhyped. And I've spoke about them in the past. And Jack Grealish is an example, someone who I think has tremendous ability, but I don't think there's enough output out of him for him to be looked at as this superstar, people say. But I'm consistent in the sense of if he starts to deliver X, Y, and Z, my opinion changes. I'm only trying to understand what could this individual player do.
You're basing Jack Grealish, for an example. Yeah, you're basing Jack Grealish off of his output in terms of goals and assists. Yeah, you're saying he's a good player ability-wise, which he is. He's fantastic.
Yes,
right. But he's not in that Man City team to necessarily be the output. Yeah, he's there to hold the ball, like very similar to Anthony at Man United.
So I understand this, right? And that's an example I'm giving you. I'm still asking you though, what could somebody do for you to change change your mind about them? It's absolutely fair. I'm not even going to push it any further. If your answer is there's nothing he could ever do, at least
nothing.
That's fine. It's not.
It's crap.
Fine.
No, Terry. Somebody in the chat said you never cut a Gale off this much. Yeah, so stop cutting Lee off. Big up to you, my friend. Right? Because I tried to answer a question and then you cut me off and then go on another tangent and I'll try and answer that and then go off another tangent. Now I can't remember the first one. Right? My point is, yeah, most of these players that play professional football now, not just in the Premier League, but globally, are trash in comparison to the players that I have seen in my lifetime play football over 35, 40 years. Right? So when I'm sitting there being told, well, is there anything that Havertz can do to change your opinion on him? No, because you know what? He doesn't even rank in the top 1,000 players in world football ever, mate. Yeah, he's crap. Yeah, win me a title, cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's players that have played for Arsenal that are miles better than him. Yeah?
I understand that. Yeah, I agree.
That have won us stuff. Yeah, and there's players that are miles worse than him. That wasn't
the question. That's not the question.
Miles worse than him. Let me finish.
That isn't the question, though, Lee.
There is players that are miles worse than him, i.e. Pascal Segan. Yeah, invincible. Right. Yeah? Do I rate Pascal Segan? No. Did I ever rate him? No.
That isn't my question. But that's not the question. It's irrelevant.
Let me tell you. There was nothing Pascal Segan could do, including being invincible, to make me change my opinion on his ability. Well done. You're part of the Invincibles. That'll go down in history forever. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, you played 18 games that season. You were a big part of the team. But ultimately, you're not good enough. Yeah, you're not good enough to play at this football club consistently 38 games every single season, which is why you were a bit part player that came into the team with poor ability. And luckily for you, my friend, other players got us through that season because he made mistake after mistake that season, right? Made mistake after mistake. And his ability was on the gutter and in the floor. But ultimately, we crossed the line and won the title. So well done, Segan. Thank you very much. So Yaya Sanogo, the other example. Well done. You helped us win an FA Cup against Hull City. In fact, he got a pre-cum assist for all you pre-cum assist fans out there. Yeah, which is more than Mesut Ozil did in that final, by the way. Just saying. But again, well done, Yaya. You've won me a cup. Yeah, it doesn't change the fact I can't stand him and he weren't any good. But thank you. I'll show respect and appreciation for you help him win a title or a trophy. Because that's what the game's about, Terry. It doesn't mean I have to rate the player. Yeah, I'll give you another example. Yeah, another example, right? Thierry Henry, I can't remember what game it was. Thierry Henry, when he first came to Arsenal, was getting booed. He was getting booed. We were having this conversation in the group chat the other day. 1999, he was getting booed at Arsenal. It was an away game in Europe, I think. I can't remember what team we were playing. Yeah, he was getting booed because he was missing chances. Booed by our own fans. But I'm negative because I say this guy's no good or that guy's crap and this guy's this. Yeah, this lot ain't got a clue what day it is, mate. Yeah, Thierry Henry is one of the greatest players ever to have played football. Yeah, and they were booing him, our own fans. Yeah, but this got to say that's negative now. No, they're booing him because it's about, we know you've got ability, mate. Yeah, we know you've got ability. And people that keep comparing it to Henry, to Bergkamp, to Piers when they first came, in terms of Kai Havertz, they all had ability. This guy's got none.
So again, Lee, I understand everything you just said. And I thank you for giving me the context. The reason that I cut in is because we go down a road that we don't need to. And I'll tell you why we don't need to. Because all I was asking for is that I want to understand your position on what could make you change your mind about somebody. I am very comfortable with your answer being there's nothing a player could do that ever changed my mind. The reason why I started to question you is the first thing you said was, is win a trophy. So then, of course, my follow-up question is, so if he wins a trophy and he's an integral part, you'll kind of say that you would say, I was wrong about him as a player. And you went, no, because I still won't rate him. But that's going back to the super chat and the original question. Is there anything he could do to make you change their mind? The answer is no. Once you view a player a particular way, there's no amount of performances, goals, assists, trophies that could make you change your opinion about them as an individual player. That's fair enough. That's it, really. Like, on a real level, like, that makes sense. I kind of get that. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, big up to all the people in the chat calling me plastic. Good one, mate. Cry. Oh, I can't take this guy anymore. You'll be back next Tuesday. Right. This is what you get, Terry. As soon as you start giving people or giving out an opinion that goes against their feelings and their sparkles and their vibes and their connection, yeah, which the club couldn't care less about, by the way. They're only using connection. And I've said this, many times about COVID. Yeah, it's all about emotions. Arsenal and Man United are fleecing fans off of the back of that.
Do you feel the same? Do you feel the same way about managers, or is it different because you don't judge them based on the sort of a visual ability? So as long as if they start winning trophies, then it is actually they are legit. They are top quality. Or can you win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues as a manager and still not be rated by League Gunner?
Give me an example.
Genuine question. Not trying to catch you out.
Of a manager who's done that.
No, I'm asking. We're putting it out there. So,
I'll give you my example. Right, I think George Graham is Arsenal's greatest ever manager.
Yep.
Right, and the reason I think he's Arsenal's greatest ever manager is because he won in Europe, which, by the way, was our last time winning in Europe, nearly 30 years ago. Yeah, 30. Yeah, I was 11 years old. Right. He also broke up the dominance of Liverpool. Right, and he finished that dominance at Liverpool, who at the time, anyone who's a Liverpool fan in here or a certain age that supports other clubs will know that Liverpool, back end of the 80s, were just ridiculous. They were the best team in the world. Yeah, they were literally the best team in the world. You couldn't beat them. Yeah, they won everything. Yeah, Souness and all of that lot in their team back in the day, right? But we went to Anfield and scored twice and beat them 2-0. Yeah, then we didn't win the league the following season. And then the next season in 91, we win the league again, beating Liverpool, right? We lost one game that season. Tony Adams was in jail. And I think Keown got taken off in the first or second half. We played Chelsea and lost 2-1. Paul Merson got player of the season. Yeah, PFA Young Player of the Season or whatever that season, yeah? Right? We lost one game, 2-1 to Chelsea. If we had had Tony Adams and Martin Keown on that pitch, we would never have lost that game. It would have been George Graham invincible. But this new age of fan that gnaw off Arsene Wenger, right, think he's the be-all and end-all. Bro, the guy embarrassed us every year in Europe. So in terms of Arsene Wenger never won in Europe, right? I don't consider him a great manager. 3 titles in 20 years, 22 years. I don't think that's great. Do you? Cool, you've won us the FA Cups. I think George Graham winning the Cup double, ending Liverpool's dominance, and they didn't win the title until Klopp turned up, by the way, after that, right? Winning the Cup double, winning the League Cup before that in 87, right? And we're going up against Man United, Liverpool back then, right? And he done that, and he masterminded some of the best titles and trophies in our history. But this fan base always dismissed that. So for me, George Graham would always be considered a great based off of what he did and the context behind it. There's other managers that have fluked a European trophy. And when I say fluked, it's not really a fluke if you win a cup. Yeah, because yes, you have to have a little bit of luck.
Di Matteo won the Champions League, but he's not an elite manager. We all know that. So yeah, so I suppose that again,
Thomas Tuchel goes into a team and wins them it.
So the example again, I don't know what the examples are because it all depends. I don't know what your view of a manager was before he started winning trophies, so I can't give you an example because most managers don't start winning trophies as soon as they start. Pep and Zidane are the only two I can think of in the modern day era where they've had big jobs in their first straight away and they've won instantly. Most other managers build up to managing a big club, typically speaking.
Jose as well.
Yeah, Jose. Yeah, Jose would be a great example. But there are managers that you don't rate. There's managers that I don't rate. But the question I've got for you is, what would a manager have to do? Like a player, you said there's no way if you don't like someone's... Because you judge players on ability, all right? I typically don't judge them on ability. I see how good their ability is. I judge them on their outputs, their consistency, and what they win. Therefore, they can change my mind about how good or bad a professional football player they are based on their consistency, longevity, and what they win. I'm the same with managers. I may not like the style of football that a manager like Jose played typically, but I respect the brilliance of him when he wins. I'm just wondering whether you're someone that it's not about style, it's just about winning. And as long as they are winning and regularly competing at the highest level, you will rate them as a manager. I'm just trying to understand how you view it, if that makes sense.
I'll give you an example. I rate Simeone.
Yeah.
Go and have a look at what he's won. Like, not just at Atleti, but at previous clubs. Yeah, go and have a look at what he's won as a player. So he's a great player that's turned into a great manager, right? But then you've got other managers, yeah, like Mikel Arteta, that have been given a freebie. Here you go, have a big job. That should never happen, right? And he's won an FA Cup, cool. But if he wins the league this season and then wins the Champions League next season and is in a title race again next season, then the following season he wins the league and gets a Champions League semi or a final, you could then say, well, actually, yeah, this guy is looking great. This guy's looking great. He's won 2 titles in 3 years and a Champions League in between. It's based on trophies, Terry. Yeah, but you have to do it over a consistent period of time. Yeah, you can't just fluke a cup, yeah, or win a league and then that's it, drop off. Look at Ranieri, for example. Ranieri wins the league, right, at Leicester. What's he done since?
So don't mate, I totally agree, and that's what I'm trying to do. Like,
and that's why that's why I rate George Graham, because George Graham consistently did it. Arsene Wenger for 8 years was superb. Yeah, and then he sold himself, mate.
He didn't. Do you know what Wenger probably did that was wrong? And if he carried on managing when he probably shouldn't have done. Everybody has, and this is the thing. People look at like Pep and go, he's only in his early 50s. He could go, if he manages until he's Fergie's age, he'll definitely win more than him, which is probably true. But you don't know if he's going to be able to manage on that long. And that's only because there's been plenty of managers in their 50s who have been amazing. Come late 50s, early 60s, anything can happen. It can be personal reasons. You know, people can get ill, people can get sick. Maybe their children get older and they want to experience things. So there's all these things that come in. And with George Graham, if he'd have carried on managing Arsenal, because obviously he had to, I don't know if people are aware of this. I swear he left Arsenal because there was a lot of allegations of bribery or dodgy dealings with
right? Because he managed Tottenham, and funny enough, he won them a trophy as well.
Yeah, he did. They've got some super chats here. First one says, "Stop talking, Poo Lee. Kai Havertz has scored 17 out of 18 penalties. Jesus, Martin Saka have only scored 17 combined."
Well done.
Lee,
how many of them are for Arsenal? Oh yeah, 1. So why do I care about the others? It's like when when we signed Zinchenko and Jesus. Yeah, but they've won Premier League titles, and what? That was at Man City. Can you do it at Arsenal? Right? Jesus Christ, mate! These people, I swear down, yeah. Biggest problem as to why this club has gone 20 years without a title, because they just lap up the bare minimum, mate. But there we go. Crack on. I'll keep saying what I'm saying until we do what's required.
Lee, you should genuinely stop watching football. It exists for entertainment. You are not being entertained by it. Give it up. Find another hobby.
Oh, sorry, that's rubbish. It's not. It doesn't exist for entertainment, my friend. It is a sport. It's a competition. Yeah, it's not there for your entertainment, mate. It's there to compete to see who's the best. Yeah, and at the end of it, you get a trophy. Yeah, if you get entertainment out of watching it, cool. Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that it was set up. Yeah. To compete to see who's the best. It is a sport, my friend. Yeah, you get a trophy if you win. You don't if you lose. If you get entertainment out of it, cool. Yeah, I'll keep calling my club out for its mishaps, mate.
Cool. So Trossard isn't better than Jesus because Jesus' goals have contributed to titles.
Jesus has won titles. Well done to him, but I think Trossard's a better player. Yeah, doesn't mean that Jesus is crap. Yeah, based on what I said, he's trying to be smart. Yeah, Jesus. Like I've just said, like we just said a minute ago, just because Seagan won an invincible season doesn't mean he's better than, I don't know, somebody who hasn't. They're like, who's a decent centre back that's never won anything.
But you would agree that all of Trossard's goals and assists in his career are irrelevant.
Yeah, they're irrelevant. I said that earlier. I said that an hour ago.
Yeah, I think that's what he's alluding to.
I think Trossard's a better player than Jesus, though.
Okay. Terry, I love your content, man, but Pep leaves players on as well when they are injured. It's normal in football. I hear this weekend more than last year. Yeah, it is pretty normal, to be fair. Arsenal fans saying they were right about Havertz after scoring a penalty is the same as some Man United fans saying McTominay is good after 2 international goals. I'm not even, like, a few people in the comments have completely misunderstood me. I'm not even here back it in the conversation around what could he do to change your mind. I'm just trying to see if there's anything he could do, and it's a fair question. I don't think
based on the players that I've seen in my entire life, Terry, that these people that are running their guns in the chat weren't even born to witness. Yeah, and then they want to force it down my throat that I have to rate these crap players when I've seen the best of the best.
Have you never? But is there never been a player that you've gone, oh, I don't really think he's that good, and then over time he's changed your mind? Have you never experienced that?
The top of my head, can't think of one.
One that stands out for me wasn't my example of my dad's. My dad, when Gary Neville first came through in the Man United, my dad used to rip into
Olivier Giroud. Olivier
Giroud could be one. Yeah, I hear you on that. Terry, just admit when you do these shows with Lee, I can literally see your soul floating off the moment he says, I tell you what. Not really. I enjoy it. It's fun. Bayern fan here. Lee is spot on. At Bayern, we don't accept failure. We sack Oliver Kahn, and I can't pronounce that name after hiring Nagelsmann. Listen, you're absolutely spot on. You're absolutely spot on. But not every club's in your position. So it's
no, wait, that's bollocks as well, because West Ham's income is more. Yeah, well, it is, because West Ham's income is more than Bayern Munich. So why don't West Ham spend like Bayern Munich?
Because they can't attract the same level of player.
Why is that? Because they don't win, and then watch.
Because they're not as big and they're not as good.
That's cool, and I get that. But now watch when we play them in the League Cup. I guarantee they put a reserve team out.
Okay, yeah? maybe they will. So you think West Ham winning a League Cup will make them as attractive as Bayern Munich?
Yeah, winning 2 trophies on the spin.
Again, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. They should aim to try and get there. But do you know how long it would take West Ham to have the ability to behave like Bayern Munich? Decades.
No. Wait.
You can't do it overnight.
When you're saying behave like Bayern Munich, you can behave like Bayern Munich from top to bottom. You just can't attract the players. Wait. You can behave like them.
Then you can't behave like them, can you?
Mentality-wise, you can be like Bayern Munich, because you can have we're here to win, not take part. Right? So then when they come into these cup competitions, they can put out their best players and go for a cup. I guarantee when we play them in the League Cup later this month, I guarantee they don't field their best team.
Okay, so you can have the mentality, I agree, but your behaviour stroke, your processes, the way you go through managers, the way the players you have to buy and sell, the way you operate cannot be the same until you're at their position. So there's always going to be differences. Terry, I love you, but we are smashing them lot this weekend, 3-1 to Arsenal. And I'm waiting for, what does it say? Ecstatic over the moon, happy league gunner fan cam this weekend. He will be, I'm sure he will. Selectively picking on only the critical comments is shallow. Lee did talk about the win back in the 2000s. Arsenal defined top class. Nowadays, fans are content with participation trophies. Pathetic.
Facts.
I hear you on that.
This is what people do, bro. Yeah, they don't listen to anything I say that's positive. They just take the one negative and spin it into a whole new story that I'm always negative. Yeah, go and type in my channel name and type in happy. Just put Lee Gunner happy. It'll come up with loads and loads and loads of fan cams where I'm happy. But people don't want to watch. They don't want to watch that bit, do they?
I saw the pictures you posted of you as a kid the other day in your Arsenal kits, and I did. The first thing that comes in my head was,
because that geezer was doing my nutting.
Yeah, the first thing that came into my head was, what went wrong?
What do you mean, what went wrong? What went wrong? Yeah, is my club sold its soul to smash that stadium down? Yeah.
I love it. I got to remember though, sometimes I'm going to say things that I know are not true, just to have a little laugh. It's called. I don't think young people do this anymore. It's called a joke. The thing is though, we know the world's changing. People get arrested for jokes nowadays. And I'm talking like there are horrible things people do. Like there was a kid, it was local to where I am here, it was in the local newspaper. Someone told a your mum joke to another kid, like a bit of banter. They had him arrested for bullying. He got arrested for bullying. Wow. For saying, like, he said something like your mum's so fat when she sits on she sat on the rainbow and Skittles popped out. It was a joke like that. Got arrested for bullying. So I actually understand why the younger generation go, but Terry laughed at something Lee said. It's not quite what he meant. It's just called a joke.
The other day, my phone call, right, from the school. Yeah, her son was in trouble with the teacher because there was somebody being naughty in class. They're like 15, 16 years old, right? He was mouthing off to the teacher, this other guy, right, and being a bit of a prat. And because her son started laughing, he's in trouble. Like, the world's tapped.
Bro, this is the point. I get it. Every time I do the fan channel review, people will say, you've only listened to 30 seconds and you're laughing. If you'd have listened to the whole 10, 15 minutes, you'd have known what it quite meant. I went, it's a bit of fun, bruv. Like, if you're angry about it, you've got the problem, not me. Go soak your head in some water. Man City game, the Backstage Pass YouTube channel will say Havertz completed X passes successful. He's awesome, but if City win or draw the game, all those awesome passes count to nothing.
No, right, they'll be counting his PADJ ball recoveries. Yeah, his OOP ball recovery. I don't even know what any of this rubbish means, mate. Yeah, PADJ. You're into all of these stats, Tel. What does PADJ mean? PADJ ball recoveries.
No idea.
Possession adjusted. You still have no idea, do you? Exactly.
As a City fan, if we play a Cover Nunes pivot, I think Arsenal will score 2 on the counter easy. It will end 2-2, and any other midfield we win is what Zane thinks here.
I don't think Nunes a start, if I'm honest.
KT is not on the same planet as Zinchenko technically. That's true. That's
Where
true.
did I ever say he was?
Yeah, no, we agree. Kai Havertz is at the same level. Sorry, is at the same level as Lee Gunner's new channel. It could be good. It could be good, bad, or anything in between, or all at the same level.
Well, not really, mate. When I'm getting 12,000 people tuning in for an Al Ahly against Al Tawoon game, mate, yeah, then you know you're doing all right. Yeah, and I didn't even have a stream for it, and I kept losing the stream that I had, and like my Mac was overheating, and people are still sat there. So yeah, I'm levels above Kai Havertz in terms of that channel, mate. Thank you for your input.
Lee, name me 8 players who you rate playing for Arsenal right now. We won 4-0. Still find shit to complain about. Jesus, be realistic, mate. So 8 players you rate at Arsenal right now.
Yeah, we won 4-0 and still find shit to complain about. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, mate. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Because unlike you, my friend, yeah, I don't just brush a win under the carpet and go, right, that's it, we've won. We've won. Just be happy we've won. I actually look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is not just one win, mate. Yeah, 8 players. Trossard, Jesus, Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, William Saliba. I'm kind of struggling. David Raya. Who else is there?
Ben White.
Smith Rowe. There's 8.
There we go. Bangs on about players he's seen and how Cristiano Ronaldo ain't in the top 50 based on ability, yet he rates Kieran Tierney. He's nowhere near Zinchenko's ability.
Again,
not good enough on
gymnastics, mate. I never said he's got his ability. Did I ever say that? Have I ever said that? I've never said that. In fact, I've said the opposite. I've said exactly what you said. Yeah, technically, Zinchenko's clear. Defensively, he's nowhere near. I'm a poet. I fully know it.
Wenger 3 Premier League titles over Simeone's 2 La Ligas.
Yeah, I'm sure Atleti fans are fuming. How long's Wenger been at Arsenal, and how long's Atleti had Simeone as their manager? Yeah, come back in about another 9 years, mate, and we'll see how many more he's got.
Lee,
and by the way, he's doing it against the 2 biggest clubs on the planet.
Lee, you must have a deeper understanding of football
to understand what Kai Havertz does.
Did Wenger also not give Lee an autograph?
No, I told Wenger to do one twice when I met him, mate. Unfortunately for you, you'll never meet him. Unlucky.
Sorry, I might have asked you a question before. Is it true you asked Arteta for an autograph and he said no? Is that a true story?
No,
that's a lie.
No. Again, it's another load of bollocks. Yeah, I was the company. I said this on there the other week. The company I was working for were fitting some windows for a couple that moved down from Newcastle. Right, they were Geordies, yeah. But the cottage is right in front of London Colney. It was the very end cottage, right? And the company I worked for fitted the windows on that house. But the players were all coming out, and there was a guy there with his son, yeah, getting autographs and all that. So I'm walking down. There's like 25, 30 cottages, yeah, but there's the gap to go up to the training ground in the middle of the cottages, yeah. So I'm just standing there, and I'm speaking to Wilshere, I'm speaking to Ramsey and Walcott. Arteta comes out, and the boy's like, "Oh, that's Arteta, Daddy." Yeah, he opened his window that much. Yeah, and he was like, "What do you want?" So I just went, "Fuck off." Yeah, but now it's me being rejected when really it's a little boy. But they make a story out of everything, Terry. Yeah.
Was that when Arteta was a player or the manager?
Yeah.
No, I think a player, right?
This
player,
was years ago, man. Yeah, before these idiots were even out of nappies. But it makes a cool story online. Oh, you got rejected. Shut up, man. Yeah, I didn't even ask Jack Wilshere or any of the others for autographs, mate. I was there to work.
I honestly find the whole autographs, and I find pictures. Not for kids. Kids I get. As an adult,
I met David Dean outside Stamford Bridge. Yeah, right. I think it was Emery's first away game. I was talking to Dave. Me and Afsal were talking to David Dean for about 10 minutes. Not once did I ask for his autograph or a photo.
Yeah, I always find it weird. I bumped into celebrities, singers, actors, and I just sort of like if I can get their attention and if I respect them and like what they do, I might go up to them and shake their hand and say, "Look, love what you do, thanks, cheers, whatever it is." But I typically leave them alone. The whole
I'll take a selfie with someone here and there. Mavropanos was in the away end that day, yeah, with the Arsenal fans. He was taking photos with everyone. Guendouzi, Man City, the first game we played under Emery, we was in the underground car park and he was stood right next to me. I was like, "Yo." Yeah, but every now and again, but I ain't one of these that got all pleased. When I met Wenger, again, that was at Stamford Bridge the first time. He was signing autographs for everyone. Yeah, and I was like, yo, you need to leave, mate. Yeah, you've ruined this football club. Get out. And I think we played Red Star Belgrade a couple of weeks later, and I see him again. Literally, he was standing talking to Ty. Like, or sat in his car talking to Ty outside the ground, outside the house. Yeah, I was like, Ty, move. I was like, I told you last week. Like, Troops couldn't believe it. Yeah, when we was at Stamford Bridge, Troops was like, yo, you're nuts. I was like, bro, I ain't gonna have this energy online, and then when I meet him, not say it to his face. Like, I don't like Wenger. I don't. He's killed this football club. He's buried it beyond belief.
I hear you, mate. I do. Jake here says, Lee, your fan base have absolutely no standards, mate. Is what he said there. Exactly. Listen, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in today. It's always a pleasure to sit here and talk with Lee Gunner, and of course, you, the viewers listening. The super chatters, you're amazing. Please hit the like button before you leave and turn on that bell notification button. We are live after the Champions League games tonight, so make sure you're tuning back in now. I want all of you back, bang on full time. The link's already ready, so go and like it now. Tomorrow, straight facts, I'll be on with Sav on the show tomorrow, so looking forward to that. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all again.